is nothing short of remarkable.
No, it's not. Genius tactically on the training grounds, but relates it to the players, makes them understand exactly what he's after. But the transformation around this club, you just have to listen to it. I mean, this is a completely different club to the one that I played at.
Well, it is a club that Stephen Warnock made just over 100 appearances. He was a runner-up in the League Cup during his time at Villa Park. As the players take the knee, once again it is a designated weekend in the Premier League, as the Premier League and Aston Villa show their support, and strong support as well. No room for racism. So after taking the knee, we're underway, and Aston Villa defending the Holt End in their claret and sky blue shirts and white shorts are playing from right to left, attacking the two-tiered north stand as we look, and Bournemouth therefore in the sunshine, although most of the pitch actually is in shadows at the moment. So we're just underway here at Villa Park. We're going to go to Sunderland though, the leaders of the Championship, and at the Stadium of Light is Charlie Slater.
And the quickest off the mark here were the sprinklers, because though it's 0-0, 5 sprinklers popped out of the turf with 30 seconds into the game, and everybody got a good soak in. Still 0-0, they're behaving themselves now, it's dry again.
You'd be grateful that the commentary position is right up at the back. There was a time when we were very low down at the Stadium of Light, and every chance that you could have got a soaking, because you were really exposed to the elements on Weir side. As the ball is lifted forward, Digne makes good ground on the left-hand side, runs in field, 25 yards out. McGinn now takes over, passes the ball to Ramsey, left corner of the area, goes on the outside, and the cross comes in and cleared away. I'm aware that I've given you the actual starting lineup for Aston Villa, but not that of Bournemouth. So Travers is in goal, Araujo, Senesi, Zabani and Kirkes is the defence, Christie, Cook and Ouattara, Semenyo, Unal and Cliver. It's a first start of the season for Enas Unal after Ivan Nilsson dropped to the bench, probably trying to freshen something up, maybe, the coach Irola.
Yeah, perhaps, might not have perhaps gone how he wanted it to.
They've won the ball in the midfield through Christie, who gets it back from Unal to the edge of the area, tries to cut inside onto his left foot, but he's stopped, and Conce will play the ball up towards McGinn, who just tried to roll away from Cook, and Cook just nibbled at his heels, brought him down.
Yeah, I think going back to the question, Evan Nielsen, he's a willing runner. Villa in again here.
Zabani heads it away. It was a ball aimed towards Watkins. He's come back into that forward line. I mean, John Durant, 7 goals. But Watkins, after a slow start, 5 goals in his last 5 Premier League games. Yeah,
he's had a little bit of pressure and he's responded well to it, hasn't he? You're looking at the opposite end of the pitch and you look at Unal. He's had an impact when he's come onto the pitch, and he's been effective off the bench, and now it's can you do it from the start? And maybe Evan Nielsen just getting to grips with the speed of the Premier League. Perhaps needs that little bit of time out the team to watch his team and understand how his manager wants his team to play.
The Turkish forward, who was signed in the summer for £13 million from Getafe after that loan deal last year. 17 appearances, but he only actually made 3 starts last season, did Unal. And this, as I say, is his first of the season as Villa, with Onana, imposing figure in the midfield, runs forward. He's about 10 yards forward of the centre circle to Tielemans, who just glides the ball forward, cut out by Ouattara, who was running back and tracking back with Digne. Unal helping out in the midfield, loses the ball to McGinn. McGinn's forward ball off balance, laid off there by Watkins. Edge of the area, Unal. He was caught there by Onana, and it was a heavy challenge as well, quite high up on the shin.
Really clumsy from Onana, wasn't it? Just left his studs up. Unal felt the brunt of it. It was a good hold-up play from Enas Unal.
Shown a yellow card too, Onana, from referee Chris Kavanagh, as we'll get an update from the Etihad and John Bennett.
Manchester City 0, Southampton 0, Man City on the attack at the moment. Russell Martin said he wouldn't change his approach. He definitely hasn't. It's been passing football out from the back. It's caused them a few risks at times, but so far so good. Man City 0, Southampton 0.
Southampton, who are yet to win, as are bottom of the table Wolves, and indeed with Ipswich Town in the same boat, and Crystal Palace. The first time in the history of English top flight football that as many as 4 sides have gone 8 games into a new season without winning. How have Wolves started at the Amex, John Southall?
They've started okay as a cross comes in. It's a decent ball from Brighton to the far post, cleared away for a corner. Combative start, no real pattern to the game, but a Brighton corner over on the far side. Brighton 0, Wolves 0.
We welcome listeners to the BBC World Service to here at Villa Park, so wherever you are in the world, a pleasure to have your company on this Saturday afternoon. It's extremely mild in Birmingham today, isn't it?
Yeah, it's lovely. Packed the coat, I packed everything thinking it was going to be a cold October day, but no, we've had a lovely start to the day.
No goals at the moment elsewhere around the country. We will go to Brentford though in the Premier League with Lee Blakeman.
Brentford 0, Ipswich 0. Bright start by the visitors, couple of corners, and then Sam Smodics, he just put a ball straight across the face of goal. Just needed a touch from an Ipswich player. Instead it was cleared by a Brentford one. Brentford 0, Ipswich 0.
Still goalless here in the early stages. They're looking for the ball forward to Watkins. Watkins is onto that. Watkins into the penalty area. Might have a second nibble. Keeps the ball in play. The angle is tight. Looks to put it back towards Ramsey. And then Bournemouth actually deal with the danger, as there has now been a goal at Manchester City. John Bennett.
Manchester City nightmare start for Southampton. Cross in from the left-hand side by Núñez, and Erling Haaland was there in the 6-yard box to force it in, ending his 3 league game goal drought. Manchester City 1, Southampton 0.
Manchester City are ahead, and that could be a very long afternoon for Southampton. If they ain't going to change the way that they play under their manager Russell Martin, they are going to come under a lot of pressure at the Etihad.
Yeah, they are, but the manager keeps on coming out and saying that he's got a good relationship with the board, but results will determine that, because as we know, it's a business, and if the business is not running, or it's going to lose a lot of money in the summer by going down and getting relegated, they won't be happy.
Ball threaded through, Watkins pulls it back then, and then the shot from Rodgers couldn't keep it down. Opened up his right foot, tried to go for placement rather than power, but in the end it went over the crossbar. Goal kick.
Second run Ollie Watkins is made off the shoulder of centre-backs now, getting in behind. The first one was created, he goes round the goalkeeper Travers and pulls it back. Great defending from Kerkez. This time he sets up Morgan Rodgers, he's just leaning over it, it bounces up quite high as he tries to get a side foot on it, but Aston Villa with 2 really good opportunities.
Wycombe Wanderers are leading Leyton Orient by a goal to 0. They're third in the table. They're going very, very well. 9 unbeaten under Matt Bloomfield as Aston Villa. We've been playing for 6.5 minutes. Lose out midway through the Bournemouth half. Unal sliding into not 1 but 2 challenges, and then Onana just brings the ball away effortlessly and passes it then to Konsa, whose forward ball picks out the feet of Tielemans. Sweeps it across to this near side for Digne, and he goes back. Would you be concerned that Watkins has already had a couple of running behind that Bournemouth defence in these early stages?
Yeah, but try and stop it. That's the problem, because of the way Aston Villa play and the rotation of the midfielders, the wingers that nip inside, the fullbacks that go high and wide. The rotation's very difficult to stop that, and then Watkins is so clever with the timing of his running. There's no surprise, Deno, that he scored so many goals last year. Not many teams could work out how to stop him.
27 goals he scored last season. He's already notched up 5 after that slow start when he did go for a run of 8 games without scoring. Tranmere Rovers have scored at Gresty Road. Crewe 0, Tranmere 1 is the latest score in League 2. As the ball goes over the head of Araujo, and there is Unai Emery crouching and clapping and barking out the orders. And Andoni Iraola winless in all 4 league games against Unai Emery, as well as his time for Bournemouth against Villa. They came head to head when he was in charge of Rayo Vallecano, and Emery was at Villarreal. As they go for a ball down the middle aimed towards Cash. Cash had scampered forward from right back on his 300th appearance of his senior career, but it was just too far ahead and picked up by Travers, the goalkeeper, all in yellow.
The movement's incredible. Matty Cash making a 60-yard run beyond, and you're thinking, well, who's going to pick him up? Is it going to be the left back? Well, the left back can't, because he's nipped inside with John McGinn, and he's also got Morgan Rodgers in there. So now Semenyo's having to run back 60 yards trying to cover that run. Just a fraction too heavy from the goalkeeper into the path of Matty Cash.
It's something that they're used to seeing, isn't it? A rampaging full-back, albeit back in the day between 2009 and 2012.
Yeah, Luke Young was
left
very
back.
Good at that. He was exceptional on the right-hand side at that.
Oh, you're modest as ever. Lincoln 0, Stockport County 1 is the latest score in League 1, and Swindon Town, who sacked manager Mark Kennedy, are down to 10 men in League 2. They're at home to Gillingham. Gillingham, who have lost their last 5 but will have never a better opportunity than getting back to winning ways at the county ground. as Semenya over on that far side, the left, passes the ball back, and then the cross is high and gathered in by Emi Martinez. As we'll go to Brighton and John Southall.
Brighton 0, Wolves 0, but great chance for Wolves. Cunha on the left-hand side, pulled it back to Tommy Doyle, 16 yards out, unmarked, over the bar, really good chance. Brighton 0, Wolves 0.
Cynical challenge from Justin Kluivert to stop the run of Tielemans in the centre circle. He'll be shown a yellow card from Chris Kavanagh, free kick to Villa.
Had to make it because the movements and the ability of Tielemans just to shift his body, drag the ball past Kluivert, then run towards the back four. He had runners either side and he could have picked them out, so clever from Kluivert.
Port Vale, the League Two leaders, are ahead. They're 9 unbeaten and they lead Wimbledon by a 1-0 as Aston Villa have this free kick inside the centre circle. They are playing from right to left as we look, attacking the north stand. Tielemans then hits it low, out to Digne. A couple of touches, takes him level of the area, challenged by Christie. Digne, I thought, was going to haul him down. Instead he releases Ouattara, and a break is on here for Bournemouth. It's 2 against 2. Ouattara running forward, Consido leans into him and shows his strength, and it's back to Emi Martinez. And as soon as Emi Martinez picks up the ball, he makes a point of racing back to his goal to give a pat on the back to the England international Ezri Konsa. As we'll go to Turf Moor and Nathan Albon.
Where it's Burnley 0, QPR 0, but QPR have just come close. Paul Smith on the break from a corner, cannoned his shot off the crossbar, still goalless at Turf Moor.
Excellent defending, wasn't it, by Konsa?
Yeah, really good, read the play, understood the line of the run.
Forward ball, Tielemans looking to Ramsey, Zabani had to come across. Zabani in the end he wasn't caught in two minds because he was decisive, but he had an issue because he had Watkins on his right shoulder, and then the ball played through the middle for Ramsey. He had to deal with it.
Yeah, because he'd lost his centre-back partner who'd gone inside on Morgan Rogers, and that's the overloads that Aston Villa create, and it's so difficult to defend against.
Flag up on this near side. It'll be a free kick to Aston Villa. We've been playing for 11.5 minutes on BBC Radio 5 Live. If you've just come in after listening to 5 Live Sport through the afternoon, you can listen via your smart speaker. All you've got to do is say to your device, play Radio 5 Live, and hey presto. Also available through the BBC Sounds app. But here we are at Villa Park, 0-0. The ball goes back to Emi Martinez, who was announced as the world's #1 when he took to the pitch earlier on.
Yeah, rightly so as well, because he got the Golden Glove and nominated best goalkeeper. So yeah, do you know what was impressive before, Deno? Ball comes into the box, he's such an imposing figure, takes out the air very comfortably and then sets his team on an attack.
Here is Tielemans coming forward, had a bit of space to run into, stopped by the legs of Zabani. The ball broke back to the centre circle, then played forward to Onana, and off the legs of Kerkez, this is going to go back towards the goalkeeper Travers. Port Vale have got a second goal. Port Vale 2, Wimbledon 0. They were 2 points clear of second place Walsall ahead of the 3 o'clock games. The two early results in League 2, Colchester 1, Salford City 2, Morecambe bottom of the table, pumped at home by Chesterfield, Morecambe 2, Chesterfield 5. In League 1, Mansfield, who were 4th, Birmingham top, they drew 1-1 at Field Mill, and Reading beat Bristol Rovers by a 1-0. What a job, by the way, that Ruben Sellers is doing. They're up to 5th, 3rd straight win, under all sorts of turmoil behind the scenes, of course. And in the Championship, Bristol City 0, Leeds United 0. So Leeds United missing out on a chance at the top, although they do extend their unbeaten run to 7. Coventry came from 2-0 down to beat Luton Town 3-2, and Watford beat Blackburn Rovers by a 0-0. Blackburn, who are still yet to win away in the Championship this season. Goal at Bramall Lane, Shojo Saka.
It's Sheffield United 1. It's Alfie Gilchrist with the shot. Sheffield United 1, Stoke City 0. I'm just looking at the replay, Ian, because Alfie Gilchrist with the shot, it hit Kiefer Moore. He didn't know much about it, hit him on the shins and went in. So it's Kiefer Moore with the goal. Sheffield United 1, Stoke City 0.
Yep, confirmed now as it pops up on the computer screen. Moore with a goal. As here is Ramsey, enters the penalty area left-hand side with a cutback. Cook sliding back. It might fall to Tielemans, wouldn't settle. Tielemans turns, now gets the shooting opportunity and saved at the near post by Travers behind for a corner, 0-0.
Oh, brilliant from Pau Torres, the centre-back, drives forward. There's a pass down the line that's onto Luca Digne, but he doesn't want that. He wants the ball that's going to hurt the Bournemouth defence. It's the slide ball through the full-back and the centre-back into Ramsey down the left-hand side, fizzes it across the box, and it should go to Ollie Watkins, but he tries to pull it back and it gets intercepted. Big opportunity for Villa.
The voice of Stephen Warnock on BBC Radio 5 Live as Tielemans with the corner kick punched away by Travers, who actually is just hobbling there. He's not walking too freely at the moment, is Mark Travers. It's only his second Premier League appearance of the season. He was in between the sticks when Kepa was ineligible when they played Chelsea earlier in the season against his parent club, of course. As Digne with a cross, plenty of lift on that. Watkins with a header, but he's falling backwards and there's no power on the headed effort, and it's easily gathered in by Travers. Back to Brighton, John Southall.
Brighton 0, Wolves 0. First opening for Brighton. Van Hecker with a cross. Danny Welbeck with the header, looped it onto the roof of the net. Brighton 0, Wolves 0.
Dundee have taken the lead at home to St Johnstone at Dens Park in the Scottish Premiership, 1-0. Ball played out from the back, laid off, out towards that far side. Semenyo on the left, now tries to switch play with a crossfield ball that Unal is beaten in the air by Digne. Settles towards Ramsey, runs away from Araujo, turns on the halfway line. Little flick ball forward by Tielemans, and it will run away, and Bournemouth have got time to deal with that as there is a goal now at the Stadium of Light. Charlie Slater.
16 minutes gone, Sunderland 1, Oxford United 0. This is a goal worthy of the top spot in the Championship. Wonderful team goal, pass after pass after pass, ends up on the head of Joe Bellingham, which ends in the bottom corner. 1-0 Sunderland.
What's the latest at the Hawthorns? Pat Murphy.
It's 0-0, but West Brom on the front foot. Johnson should have done better.
Grim, we've just lost Pat there, but still 0-0. Grimsby leading MK Dons by a goal to 0. Plymouth 0, Preston North End 1. Going well under Paul Heckingbottom. Preston North End unbeaten in 4 as Ouattara with the cutback into the penalty area towards Kluivert. And there was Cash, did well actually, Cash, because he was tucked into a central area to help out with the defensive duties. And now rolling away is Rodgers, running forward. Rodgers now at the outside of the right boot, tries to get Watkins. Zabani had to be alert again. This Bournemouth defence is being tested.
It's been stretched time and time again from the rotations, from the ability of individuals. Morgan Rodgers there, quite brilliant with the little chop inside, rolls his player, and then he feeds a ball with the outside of his right foot in behind the Bournemouth backline, and Ollie Watkins a fraction off getting on the end of it, but it's all Aston Villa.
Nice little touch there with a head by Rodgers. Plays him Tielemans, enters the penalty area, and now arriving was McGinn. Kirkes though was tucked in the left back, and Bournemouth under pressure. We'll get the ball clear now with Christie. I mentioned that Swindon down to 10 men as Tielemans with a foul on Christie, and Gillingham have taken the lead. Tielemans is going to get a yellow card here. He's going to be the third player booked in these opening 17 minutes. So Gillingham lead at Swindon by a goal to 0, and Northampton Town are leading Crawley by a goal to 0 in League One, and also in League One Huddersfield Town have just taken the lead at home to Exeter. Where will we go next on 5 Live? Back to Pat. Lines have been re-established.
I've put a penny in the meter, Ian. West Brom on top, although Robinson's just hit the top of the West Brom bar. Johnson and Furlong just missed chances, and they've lost McNair after 2 minutes with a hamstring injury. It's West Brom 0, Cardiff 0.
Feel free to throw a few pennies in my direction, will you, Pat? I'm not that far away from you here at Villa Park. 0-0, 18 minutes played. What have you made of the start to this game, Stephen?
It's been electric from Aston Villa in the movement and the way that they've pushed Bournemouth back. From Bournemouth's point of view, they'll just be happy that they're still in this game.
Ball over the top. It was aimed towards Kluivert. Gets a corner kick. Before that, though, we'll go to Charlton. Flo Pollock.
Goal for Wrexham. Charlton 0, Wrexham 1. It was a free kick. Wide, whipped in, and I think it went past everybody and right into the goal. Mannion Kadoun just palm it into his own net. Charlton 0, Wrexham 1.
Thank you, Flo. Phil Parkinson's side will look to try and close the gap on leaders Birmingham after that 1-1 draw at Field Mill. Latest in League 2, Carlisle United 0, Cheltenham Town 1 is the latest score. Bournemouth, I've got to say, are in no real hurry to take this corner kick in front of the Holt end over on that far side, and it will be Christie who's going to take it. So this should be an outswinger. It's still 0-0. Aston Villa have got everybody back. The right arm goes aloft over on that far side by Christie, and now Chris Kavanagh has spotted something, because it was Tielemans who's just been knocked to the floor in the penalty area away towards our right. BBC Radio 5 Live, the World Service, and also available on the BBC Sounds app. Christie with a corner kick for Bournemouth. left-footed. It is an outswinger. Keeper hasn't got there, and eventually it's Watkins who hammers the ball away downfield.
He didn't quite get there, but he did enough, didn't he, Martinez, to just put off the Bournemouth attackers. They were just trying to set themselves up correctly there, Bournemouth. We saw the goal that they scored last week against Arsenal, caught them out with a set piece, and might be their opportunity today to find a breakthrough against Aston Villa.
I know they lost at Liverpool the other week, and I don't know if you saw the game, but they contributed to a really fine game of football.
I thought they were superb in the first 20 or 30 minutes. They didn't start that game, and they started better than they have here.
Here is Semenyo looking for Unal. Just couldn't turn with the ball, but they still have it with Ouattara on the edge of the area. His left-footed shot is blocked by Ramsey. Comes out to Araujo on this near side. Ball played forward by Cook. Cut out by Ramsey once again. And Ramsey now turns midway through his own half, and under pressure from two Bournemouth players, digs it back to Digne. Headed forward though by Senesi. Ramsey's continued his run. He cuts in front of Araujo, who manages to get back goal side, helped out by Cook. And Ramsey holds on to the ball and plays it to Tielemans. Now inside towards Onana. Cash joins the attack far side to right. No other goals elsewhere around the country to tell you about. 21 minutes played here on BBC Radio 5 Live. And Cash now with Onana, and all of a sudden Villa are just outside the centre circle, but a forward ball, and then was Ramsey tripped by Araujo? Yes, he was, just outside the penalty area, spotted by referee Chris Kavanagh, and the fourth yellow of the game is shown, and this is a free kick left of centre.
If he doesn't make the foul, Ramsey's through. It's cynical, but it's the correct decision from the fullback Araujo. He has to make sure that he makes contact, because Ramsey's done him with the run, and the ball's inch perfect into his path. So dangerous, Aston Villa, with the movement, but also the penetrating passes.
And they've had a number of those penetrating balls, haven't they, this afternoon?
Well, they have, because they haven't been able to get anywhere near them, the Bournemouth players. They found it so difficult to pick up the Aston Villa midfielders. When they have picked up the midfielders, the wingers have dropped inside. They've been able to pick the ball up. But what you're seeing with the Aston Villa players is that every time that they pick the ball up, their body positions are facing forward, so then they can now pick those forward passes.
Bromley got their first win in 12 in midweek, but they're behind in League 2 at home to Barrow. Bromley 0, Barrow 1, no other goals, as we now wait for this free kick. So it's left of centre, it's 25 yards out from goal. Aston Villa in their traditional colours, the claret and sky blue. You've got Tielemans with the right foot, or Digne with the left. Digne would have to go a long way with his left boot to wrap it around a four-man wall. They've also got a player in that draft excluded position behind that four-man wall. McGinn runs over it. Digne it is, who chips it towards Onana, whose header is tipped away by Travers. It was a super save by Travers away to his right-hand side, and it looked like Onana had placed it perfectly until Travers sprung into action.
Yeah, the timing of the run from Onana's absolutely perfect. Initially I thought he's perhaps gone too soon, he's ran too early, but he times it to perfection, and the ball in from Luca Digne is delightful. Just floated into that back post area. Great save.
Well worked routine, almost produced a goal. Tielemans with the corner, two tried to meet it, loops up in the air, and then it had dropped out of play, and it will be a goal kick. Well, Travers has produced two smart saves now. That was certainly a very good one, the earlier one from Tielemans at his near post. We'll go to Brentford, Lee Blakeman.
Brentford 0, Ipswich 0, big chance for Brentford. Damsgaard with the corner, Norgard with the flick at the near post. It hit an Ipswich player, so Muric had to adjust before making the save. Did well to keep it out. Brentford 0, Ipswich 0.
Brighton 5th in the table, taking on bottom of the table Wolverhampton Wanderers. John Southall.
And they're cranking it up. Brighton 0, Wolves 0. Two chances. Matoma on the edge of the area, shot deflected over them. Belieber 25 yards out, struck it so well. Saved by Sarr, flying to his left-hand side. Brighton 0, Wolves 0.
So what's really interesting, every time Aston Villa get a free kick now, we're all waiting in anticipation, aren't we? What they're going to come up with, but you get that sense from the fans as well. The blocking from Ramsey on that free kick is just so well thought out.
Back pass by Cook. It was a deliberate back pass, so therefore Travers couldn't pick it up. He took it down off the chest and then volleyed the ball away. Pau Torres though for Villa inside the centre circle. That's the voice of the former England international Stephen Warnock, who's with us here as Cash gets forward. Semenyo goes back with him and will marshal the ball safely out of for a goal kick. 24 minutes played, Aston Villa 0, Bournemouth 0.
It looks like a hot potato at the moment for Bournemouth. They can't keep hold of the ball at all. It's bouncing off players. Players are reluctant to try and receive the ball under pressure. Well, that's the difference within the two teams. Every time Bournemouth receive a ball, they're under pressure, whereas Aston Villa have found the space. They get players in positions where they can then pick passes.
Their travelling support that has made their way up from the south coast, currently bathed in sunshine, over on that far side, as here Rodgers picks it up and charges at the heart of the Bournemouth defence, but Cook did enough to put him off and helped out by Senesi. Now it's with Christie, invites Kirkes to get forward. He couldn't control the ball, but sliding back was Semenyo to keep the ball in play, and now Christie's onto it left of the centre circle, plays it short and square, then gets it back from Cook, and the Scottish international passes the ball out towards Kirkes over on that far side. Back with Christie, and Bournemouth just try and slow things down. Another goal at the Valley, Flo Pollock.
Charlton 1, Wrexham 1. A looping header from Macaulay Gillespie just beat Arthur Okonkwo. Charlton 1, Wrexham 1.
Kirkes is forward on the left. Kirkes swings over the cross from the byline to Waite. Unal's header, as he was trying to get a little bit of room, is headed well off target and goes out for a goal kick as we go back to check in on the champions. John Bennett.
Manchester City 1, Southampton 0. Southampton have steadied the ship after that early Erling Haaland goal. Just a couple of half chances for City. Nunes with a shot wide. Kovacic a shot charged down. Man City 1, Southampton 0.
Tomorrow, 5 Live Premier League Sunday from midday. West Ham United, Manchester United at 2. Arsenal Liverpool commentary at 4:30. Chelsea Newcastle, which gets underway at 2 o'clock, will have commentary on Sports Extra, and then the Palace Spurs game, which is a 3 o'clock kickoff, will have commentary on the website and the BBC Sport app. As Martinez, in a sky blue goalkeeping outfit away towards our right, strokes the ball out with his feet towards Konsa, and then Konsa just holds off Kluivert, snapping away at his heels. Also has a little tug back there of his left arm, as Aston Villa slowly but surely try and build from the back. But Bournemouth are pressing and closing them down as the ball goes up towards Rodgers, and Bournemouth, as a result of that, get a throw.
Yeah, it's the best little bit of pressing that we've seen from Bournemouth, but it's probably the first opportunity because they were set up and organised in a shape, but Aston Villa found it quite easy to play out at times so far in this first half.
There's a degree of symmetry to league games between the two, as the ball is played forward to Ramsey, and Ramsey runs into the penalty area, but he's across the face of goal. He's actually been kept in play by Watkins. Bournemouth has switched off. McGinn scores! Bournemouth are looking for the flag. It never materialised. The ever-alert Watkins kept it in, and John McGinn, who scored against Bologna, has scored his first goal in the Premier League. Bournemouth complain, Aston Villa celebrate. 1-0.
It was coming, and then lovely play by Ramsey down the left-hand side. He tried to pick out Watkins in the centre, overcooked the pass, and it looked like it had ran out. Even from our position, I thought the whole ball doesn't look like it's gone out. And then Watkins so alive to pick out John McGinn, but he's got acres, and all the Bournemouth players stop. They slow down, they've all got their hands up. McGinn doesn't care, he fires it into the far left-hand corner, but the players are still moaning as McGinn's taking his shot. We're just seeing another replay of it on our monitors in front of us. That's not out, that's definitely not out.
The cardinal sin. You know, you turn up on a Sunday afternoon, junior football, the children are always told, you play to the whistle.
Well, we're just getting a replay of it. Wow, that's close. Oh my word, this is going to be very close.
Well, while VAR do a check of that, there's been a goal at Brentford, Lee Blakeman.
And it's gone to Ipswich. Brentford 0, Ipswich 1. Good counter-attack. Hurst down the right, squared it. Smodics was there. Lovely finish. Brentford 0, Ipswich 1.
I think we're talking millimetres.
I think we're going to get this ruled out. I think there's a
little bit of daylight, isn't there?
There's a tiny point where the ball looks like it's over the line, on the line, and then the next frame they move it. This is so close.
But we're talking a smidgen.
Absolutely. I mean, it's the tiniest of margins, isn't it? But I think that to me, I mean, when I first saw it, I was thinking it's nowhere near out. But then you get this freeze frame.
And the fact that it was taken them that long, and after all of that, they have actually ruled that the ball did go out of play. However, it's still a let-off for Bournemouth, because there was no excuse for them switching off the way that they did.
No, and then they've made a change now, Bournemouth. They've reacted to that. Araujo in the right-back position, he's had a torrid time in the first half. The first 30 or so minutes, he's found it so difficult against Ramsey. They've had so many opportunities to open the deadlock, Aston Villa.
So Araujo is off, Adam Smith is on. He's approaching veteran status now, isn't he? The 33-year-old, as he's approaching 350 appearances for the club. So he is on, and that goal has been chalked off. So Brentford 0, Ipswich 1. Brighton 0, Wolves 0, Manchester City 1, Southampton 0, Everton Fulham, commentary to come at 5:30, and it remains 0-0 here, and McGinn's goal has been disallowed after a very, very tight call indeed. Northampton have got a second goal at home to Crawley. They lead 2-0 at Sixfields. No other goals elsewhere as Semenyo, and they'll have Adam Smith, the substitute, going straight ahead on this near side, the right. Zabani gets in the way and then touches the ball to Smith, and now to Cook, dropping in between the two central defenders as Bournemouth play from left to right. Semenyo. Before that chance, actually, I was going to say about the degree of symmetry to the league games. In the 12 previous meetings, both have won 5, with obviously 2 draws, and both have scored 17 goals in those 12 games. As a ball out from defence by Pau Torres goes straight then to Senesi. He tries to thread a ball through, and Cash is there and tidies it up as another goal at Brentford. Lee Blakeman.
Is this Ipswich's day? Brentford 0, Ipswich 2. Good move down the left. Found Hurst this time at the back post. Lifted it over goalkeeper Flecken. Great finish. Just over half an hour gone. Brentford 0, Ipswich 2.
4 points for Ipswich, but still looking for that elusive victory. Of course, Nottingham Forest had an excellent win against Leicester last night, didn't they? And going ever so well under Nuno Espirito Santo. And Ipswich, surprisingly, are 2-0 up at Brentford as Ouattara bursts forward, helped out by Smith. Digne concedes a throw for Bournemouth on this near side. Still 0-0, but they're level with the penalty area on the right-hand side. Here is Christie. Brings it out from that throw and then passes the ball to Senesi off the chest, little touch of his left boot, and then to Kirkes over on that far side. Semenyo midway through the Aston Villa half. Kluivert has come short, now actually is behind Semenyo as he now comes onto the ball, shapes to shoot and produces a flying save from Martinez. He hit it sweetly right-footed, it was on the rise, and diving up to his top right-hand corner was Martinez for a very athletic save.
Yeah, it's a superb save, but all the Aston Villa players drop off Kluivert as he comes inside on his right foot, unleashes a shot into the top corner. Martinez is equal to it, that's why he's the world's number 1.
That was superb, bearing in mind that for the previous 31.5 minutes he's had very little to do. Corner kick then to Bournemouth, 0-0. Christie once again with an outswinger. Instead it's rolled short, touched back to him by Kluivert, and then miscontrolled by Christie, and it bobbles over his left boot and out it goes for a goal kick.
Yeah, just in a rush to try and get that set piece correct, and as Kluivert's running, he's running at 100 mile an hour, he can't slow down, and Christie fires it in at him. Such a difficult skill to try and stun the ball from Justin Kluivert, but just slowly started to find a way back into the game, Bournemouth. But you just sense that if Aston Villa up that tempo again, they'll get him behind.
Penny for the thoughts of Araujo. It could never be here is Unal picking up a ball to Kluivert inside left channel, the penalty area. Concert lost the ball there, did Aston Villa, in a dangerous position, but they have recovered sufficiently with enough men back. Here is Semenyo though for Bournemouth. It's a deep cross, Ouattara's header back across goal, and actually came off a touch from Unal, but the flag is up anyway, it wouldn't have counted. It'll be a free kick to Aston Villa. Just going to say, have you ever been hooked so early before the half hour as Araujo has?
Yeah, have. It's not a nice feeling, I can tell you. You feel like you never want to play football again. You feel like your confidence gets drained out of you, gets sucked out of you completely. Sometimes you just have those days where perhaps you're not mentally prepared for a game, physically prepared for a game, and it's one of those days, but you'll have another go at it.
Decisive action being taken though by Andy Irola. 0-0. Back to the Manchester City, John Bennett.
Only a matter of time before a second Man City goal here. Man City 1, Southampton 0. They're piling on the pressure. City. Gvardiol has just had a header deflected over. Man City 1, Southampton 0.
Aston Villa again, whilst we were with John, lost the ball on the edge of their own penalty area. Kluivert now with a cross, and took a deflection on its way through, and it took it high and up and over for a corner kick to the away side.
Yeah, it was almost too easy for Aston Villa in the first 30 minutes or so, and taking liberties, trying to play out from the back and not having enough pace on the ball. Then the press from Bournemouth's correct. Martinez was actually static on his line as they took a huge deflection. He was hoping it wasn't going to ricochet in the top corner.
Well, there's going to be a change of corner kick taker here. Christie's taken the previous two from that far side, the left, but it's going to be Cook who's now wandered across in front of the Holt end on that far side, the left. Still 0-0 here on 5 Live. Cook in towards the near post, didn't beat the first man, headed out by Cash, comes out to Smith, hits it on the volley. It's a high one, drops towards Cook, still on that left touch line, and Aston Villa will get a throw over on the far side. We'll go back to Brentford. It's a surprising scoreline, Lee Blakeman.
Brentford 0, Ipswich 2, but they've got problems, Ian. They're without Morsey today because of an injury. They're without Hutchison because of illness. And after he went down in the build-up to the goal, Chidozie Ogbene has just left the field on a stretcher. Lengthy stoppage. Wes Burns on. Brentford 0, Ipswich 2.
Thanks, Lee. Bournemouth win the ball. Christie to Unal. Out to Kluivert. Semenyo is available unmarked on the left, but instead Kluivert didn't see him, turned the other way and looked for a rather ambitious ball out to Smith on the right back, getting forward, and it runs out of play for a throw.
Yeah, it's too heavy, the pass, wasn't it? The right idea from Kluivert, but that's the frustrating thing about Justin Kluivert. He can do some outstanding things with the football, i.e. the shot at goal that was nearly put Bournemouth ahead, but then he's so lazy at times with his passing.
0-0 it remains here at Villa Park. Header forward by Cook, cleared on the half volley by Tielemans. Hooked away by Rodgers, tried to get it first time, but it was blocked. They now do succeed in getting the ball out towards the right, and Cash has got an area of space to run into. Infield to McGinn, lays the ball off to Onana, and Onana now to Tielemans. But once again, Bournemouth are working hard, getting men behind the ball. Here is Pau Torres, slides it through. Watkins couldn't take it in his stride, and it runs out of play and out for a goal kick. As Tyrone Mings is getting a lovely ovation here as he warms up. He was on the bench against Bologna. He hasn't played after that dreadful injury that he sustained at Newcastle back last August, when he tore his ACL on his right knee. So August 2023 was the last time that he played, but back involved, which is pleasing to see for the England international, as we remain 0-0. Bournemouth appear to have just steadied the ship somewhat.
Yeah, they have, whether it's the introduction of Adam Smith, whether it was the goal that they've woken up from and realised that they can't continue to play that way, whether that manager Iraola's got a tactical message onto the players as to how he wants them to set up.
Kluivert accelerates, darts in from the left touchline, gets the shot away as well, off target, right-footed. He gets the applause there from Andoni Iraola. But they are starting to pose more of a threat.
Yeah, they're trying to free up players, and now they're getting players on the ball, i.e. Justin Kluivert and Christie, Semenyo, who are now being able to drive at Aston Villa's defence, whereas before they were under so much pressure from the Villa players. It's better from Bournemouth.
Aston Villa play out from the back, away towards our right, as we sit low down here at the front of the press box, left of the halfway line in the main stand. Back to Martinez, right-footed. Not much clouds now above us on this sunny afternoon in the second city, as it comes off the chest there of Rodgers, plays it out towards Ramsey, but there first was Ouattara. Back to the substitute Smith, who turns into trouble, and he loses the ball there to Watkins. He tried to pull back at Watkins, who, to his credit, kept on going, and Smith's going to get shown a yellow card here, because there was a pull back of the left arm of Watkins, well spotted by referee Chris Kavanagh.
Yeah, really good spot by Chris Kavanagh. He knew he was in trouble, Adam Smith. He'd been caught out, arm across the shoulder, pulls at the arm once and twice, and then takes him down, clips his heels. A little bit of help from Zabani, but now Aston Villa have a free kick on the left-hand side, and we saw that the trouble that they caused Bournemouth before. I'm just looking down at Austin McPhee, and he's just saying to someone, pin a player, and I'm trying to pick out who it is in the box, because before it was Ramsey, he was the one that blocked, and Onana got the free header at the back post.
Tielemans with the free kick. It was a nice height, headed out by Zabani, headed back by Cash. Torres had stayed forward. Downward headed by McGinn, comes towards Konsa, hits it, and a great save by Travers. Oh, and he did hit it, right-footed, powerful effort, but Travers was equal to it with a tumbling save to turn it behind.
Oh, this was the skill of a centre-forward as John McGinn heads the ball down into his path. He just dinks it over the player who's rushing onto him, and it just frees up a little bit of space, protects it.
In comes the corner, and Bournemouth have dealt with that as well. Kluivert now with a potential counter-attack, and this could be Ramsey getting a yellow card. It hasn't been a dirty game, but we've now had 6 yellow cards shown by referee Chris Kavanagh.
Yeah, in his defence, a lot of them have been cynical fouls where they have been challenges from behind, so he's not really had much option not to give them.
Crewe 1, Tranmere 1 is the latest score in League 2. And in the Scottish Premiership, Ross County 0, Kilmarnock 1. As I notice, there was the message from social media that's just been put up on the giant screen from the Premier League Match Centre, explaining why that goal had been disallowed for Aston Villa just before the half hour, that the ball had crossed the line. 4 minutes to go to half time. Although that was evident, the fact that they'd put it in the first place, they were checking for the fact that the ball had gone out of play, and the fact that was the case, then it doesn't take much to deduce that actually was the case.
You're a cynical man, Ian Dennis.
0-0. 3.5 minutes to go to half time. No other goals to tell you about elsewhere. Let's get another update from Brentford. Lee Blakeman.
Brentford 0, Ipswich 2, but it should be 3. Mark Flecken's just played an awful ball out from the back. It fell to Smodics, 14 yards out, put in a shot. Flecken made amends with the save before Leif Davis just missed the bottom corner with a shot from the edge of the area. Brentford 0, Ipswich 2.
Tielemans invites Deeney to come forward, and he's got a lot of space to control the ball on the left-hand side. His cross takes a deflection and gathered in. Came up Ouattara by Travers at his near post, Stephen Warnock.
Yeah, wasteful from Luca Digne. Lovely movement again. Ramsey dragging Adam Smith inside. Ouattara's having to run back into that right-back position, and Luca Digne's first touch was poor. Looks up and allows Ouattara to get back and get a deflection on it, and the keeper picks it up, and they snuff out the danger again, Bournemouth, but how many times are they going to be able to do it?
Lincoln City have equalised at home to Stockport County as Kirkes is forward on that far side to left for Bournemouth. Kirkes with the cross, Unal with the header. He was unmarked, directed it probably about a foot wide of the base of the left-hand post, out for a goal kick. However, it will go down as another chance.
Yeah, big fan of Kirkes down the left-hand side, always marauding down there, and then he's got quality. Picks out Unal in the middle of the penalty area. It's a difficult header, such a distance out, gets good purchase on it, but can't quite get it on target.
Well, certainly I would imagine that Andoni Iraola is a little bit more content with proceedings. It looked a little ominous for Bournemouth, the way that Aston Villa had started, as Konsa almost showed too much of the ball there to Christie, and then nicked it back to Martinez. A flat ball out by the keeper, headed forward by Smith. Got plenty of distance on that as the right back was in a central area. As there's now been another goal at Brentford. Lee Blakeman.
Brentford have got one back. Brentford 1, Ipswich 2. Yenelt down the left, put in the cross. Wisser, nice side-footed finish. Brentford 1, Ipswich 2.
Ball inside by Ramsey. Finds the on-rushing Tielemans, who enters the penalty area with the cross. Ramsey couldn't get there, and it was prevented from reaching Watkins as they play the ball out to Semenya on that far side. He gives it away. Onana flicks the ball forward. McGinn slides it to Ramsey with his back to goal, looking to turn. Plays it back to a central area, 30 yards out from goal to Tielemans. McGinn to Onana. Onana now gets the ball back. Oh, it was just intercepted with the intervention to take it away from him, but Villa now are building. Good spell this as we approach half-time. Still 0-0 on 5 Live in the World Service. No other goals elsewhere. Here is Onana. Finds Tielemans, lets it come across his body. Then right-footed, passes the ball out to Digne on this near side. Rodgers is central. He turns across his body, right-footed to Watkins with his back to goal, looking to try and turn. No width. Tielemans provides it. Left corner of the area, sends over a cross, chipped towards the far post, and chipped out of play for a goal kick. Stephen.
Yeah, nice stuff from Morgan Rogers, getting on the half turn, splitting the lines, making sure that the pass he plays breaks the Bournemouth press, but as it comes out to Tielemans on that left-hand side, it's just a poor cross into the area. He's been simply superb this season so far. Tielemans looks a lot fitter, a lot stronger, understands the system a lot better under Unai Emery.
Well, he's 53 next Sunday is Unai Emery. We were saying before, he's just celebrated that 2-year anniversary. He's since extended his deal after his arrival in 2022. Now he plans to stay until 2029 for a club that feels very much on the up here at Villa Park as we enter added on time, and we are 4 minutes into added on time as there is a goal at Brighton. John Southall.
Familiar goal scorer, Brighton 1, Wolves 0. Rutter played it to Welbeck on the right of the area and he slotted it into the bottom left-hand corner. Wolves have done so well for 44 minutes. It's Brighton 1, Wolves 0.
Ipswich were 2-0 up. We know that Brentford have got a goal back, and there's now been another goal. Lee Blakeman.
It's 2-2. Damsgaard with a through ball, picked out Wisser inside the area, took it to the 6-yard line and squeezed it just under Murat, just over the line to make it Brentford 2, Ipswich 2.
Unal makes a run forward and caught offside. And then kicks the ball away. Now, is this going to be a yellow card for delaying the restart? Yes, it is. We've seen how costly that has been for a number of players this season, and Chris Kavanagh shows Unal a yellow, the 4th yellow card to be shown to a Bournemouth player.
I'm just not understanding why he throws his arms up.
Ball played forward, Zabani. Senesi will bring it away. Can I ask you a question? Is the person behind me, is it a large person?
No.
So they don't have size 14 feet?
No.
Because they keep kicking me whilst I'm trying to commentate. I'm going to have a word at half-time. Every now and again I just get a little nudge in the back. And I thought if it was like Coco the Clown with size 14 feet, I could understand it. Ouattara on the right-hand side, running forward. Ouattara goes for goal, and Martinez makes the save. Got a hand onto it. Right-footed, turn it behind for a corner kick.
Yeah, diving inside, Luca Digne. No. Digne doesn't want to defend on his right foot, so it opens up the pitch for Ouattara. Tries to bend it in the far left-hand corner, but Emi Martinez, he makes the save. I think it's going wide, but he's not to know that. Doesn't want to take a chance on it. Can Bournemouth now get some more quality in the set pieces?
Well, we've got a corner kick, which Cook is going to go and take over on that far side. We are into stoppage time here at Villa Park. It remains 0-0, and Bournemouth once again are creating chances and causing problems. Corner kick by Cook, crowded penalty area, headed out by Konsa, and it comes out to Adam Smith, forward of the centre circle. Christie now with the diagonal ball. Cook has actually stayed out wide on that left-hand side, but won't keep the ball in play. And I'll be honest with you now, I was concentrating on the corner. I've got the computer screen to the right, and I was getting prods from behind, and I missed where we're meant to go next, but I've just had the message from the studio. Don't worry about it. We'll leave that one to Steve Crossman at half-time. Because we can't have very long to go, as Preston North End have got a second goal at Plymouth. Plymouth 0, Preston North End 2 in injury time in the Championship. We're still playing though here at Villa Park, as here is Ramsey taking the ball back inside the Villa half. Pau Torres, forward ball. Digne's continued the run. Christie will go with him. Digne enters the penalty area, takes it away out of the box from Christie. Ramsey joins the attack behind him on this near side, the left, to Tielemans, back out towards Digne. Digne, Ouattara in front of him, left corner of the area, Ramsey, back to Tielemans, infield now to Onana. Now it's with Pau Torres. Pau Torres to Ramsey, and Bournemouth defending that situation very, very well, forcing Aston Villa back. Onana to Rodgers with his back to goal, again unable to turn, still wanted the ball to feet, instead it's to Tielemans. On this near side, the left is Digne in stoppage time. Still no cross coming into the box, playing in front of Bournemouth, and Onana chips the ball up. Tielemans makes the run, and Bournemouth defending in numbers and defending well, clear it, and there's the half-time whistle. Stephen Warnock.
Yeah, really good performance so far from Aston Villa, but credit to Bournemouth. They've stayed resilient, they've stayed tight. They can perhaps fallen behind to a couple of goals, but they've rode the luck at times. Aston Villa fans are starting to get a little bit impatient that they're not crossing balls into the box, but Unai Emery will go in at half-time and say much of the same. Iraola will be very, very happy with the second half of that first half, the last 15-20 minutes.
No goals, but some fine goalkeeping. 3 excellent saves from Travers, from Tielemans, Onana and Konsa, and Martinez at the other end has produced flying saves from Kluivert and Ouattara. Shrewsbury 0, Barnsley 1 is the latest score in League One. You're up to date, but half-time at Villa Park, it's Aston Villa 0, Bournemouth 0.
And we'll start our half-time roundup at the Etihad. John Bennett.
Manchester City 1, Southampton 0. Somehow Southampton have only conceded 1 goal. Credit to their back 5, because after Erling Haaland falling backwards forced in a Mateus Nunes cross on just 5 minutes, you feared the worst for Russell Martin's side. It has been all City, Kovacic, Gvardiol coming close, but then just before half-time, almost a twist, Cameron Archer played through on goal, and he hit the bar with Southampton's first attempt on goal. Just before that, Russell Martin was booked, not happy with some decisions going against his team. One-sided, but Man City 1, Southampton 0.
City going top of the Premier League as it stands. Brighton could be making their way into the top 4. John Southall.
They could be, because it's Brighton 1, Wolves 0 at half-time. Wolves soaked up so much pressure. Then on the 45th minute, Rutter slid a through ball to Danny Welbeck. He made the run on the right of the area and finished into the bottom left-hand corner. Before the goal, Sarr made 2 good saves to deny Belieber and Matoma. 1 great chance for Wolves. Tommy Doyle smashing over from 14 yards out unmarked. Should have done better. But Danny Welbeck's 6th goal of the season means it's Brighton 1, Wolves 0.
Ipswich Town had 43 outstanding minutes at Brentford and then 2 awful ones. Lee Blakeman.
What a game, Steve. This has been half-time whistle about to blow. Brentford 2, Ipswich 2. Ipswich should have been out of sight, but Brentford somehow have managed to pull themselves back level. Ipswich 1 up following a great finish from Smodics. 2 up 3 minutes later. Hurst with a chipped finish this time. Wisser got Brentford back in it, scoring following a good ball in from the left from Janelt. Then he equalised right on half-time. Played in by Damsgaard, squeezed it under Muric for 2-2. Ipswich must be wondering what they have to do. Half-time whistle about to blow. Brentford 2, Ipswich 2.
Early full times in the Championship. Watford 1, Blackburn 0, Coventry 3, Luton 2, and Bristol City 0, Leeds United 0. Leeds missed the chance to go top. Sunderland could go 5 points clear. Half-time at the Stadium of Light. Charlie Slater.
And they look good value for that as well. Sunderland 1, Oxford United 0. Joe Bellingham's header finished off a wonderful team move 16 minutes in, but they could, perhaps should, already be out of sight. Rigg and Isidore have both missed good chances. The only positive for Oxford is that it's only 1 goal. Sunderland, Steve, playing some of the best football I've seen in the Championship so far this season. They lead 1-0 at the break.
Staying at the top end of the Championship table, half-time in Burnley, Queen's Park Rangers. Nathan Alban.
And it's 0-0, Steve. Burnley dominant as you'd expect, but QPR defending well, and they have come closest to scoring. Paul Smith on the break, hitting the crossbar. Burnley, though, banging on the door, not taking their chances, though. Humphreys heading over unmarked. Roberts denied by a sliding Steve Cook. The biggest cheer so far, Steve, has been for Blackburn losing. Half-time here, Burnley 0, QPR 0.
Half-time at the Hawthorns, Pat Murphy.
West Brom 0, Cardiff 0. So much pressure from West Brom, but they still can't score. Furlong's missed a couple. Swift tried to walk the ball around the keeper. Johnson's side foot not decisive enough. For Cardiff, their only threat came in Robinson header, went onto the top of the bar. West Brom 0, Cardiff 0.
Whistle at Brentford, Lee Blakeman.
Yeah, Brentford 2, Ipswich 2. Ipswich 2 up, pulled back. Wisser, brilliant for Brentford. Ipswich kicking themselves as they leave the pitch. 2-2.
Half-time now at Bramall Lane in the Championship. Sheffield United, Stoke City. Shojo Saka.
Sheffield United 1, Stoke City 0. Kiefer Moore with the opener as he deflected Alfie Gilchrist's shot into the net. Moore then missed a really good headed chance just after the half-hour mark. He should have made it 2. Sheffield United have, though, worked out the puzzle. All the damage coming from down the flanks, both sides. Stoke's one decent chance fell to centre-back Ashley Phillips, who headed straight at the keeper. Half-time, Sheffield United 1, Stoke 0.
Other half-times in the Championship. Swansea City 0, Millwall Bristol 0, Plymouth 0, Preston 2, and it's 0-0 at the break between Derby County and Hull City. Let's take it to the Valley next into League One. Charlton Wrexham, Flo Pollock.
Still playing, Charlton 1, Wrexham 1. Wrexham took the lead through a Connor Coventry own goal. Charlton levelled 7 minutes later. Gillespie's looping header. We're playing lengthy stoppage here as the referee had to be replaced. He fell over, hurt his knee. 20-odd thousand people laughed as he fell over. Who'd be a referee, Steve? Nearly half-time, 3 minutes left still. Charlton 1, Wrexham 1.
So as it stands, Wrexham would drop a place to third in League One with that scoreline onto 25 points, and Wycombe Wanderers would go above them. Let's check in on that game right down at the bottom of the division. Cambridge United playing Burton this afternoon. Rich Wolfenden.
Yeah, half-time, it's Cambridge 0, Burton 0, and it's been a good and proper 23rd versus 24th kind of match. Lots of long balls, lots of misplaced passes, and lots of loose touches. Very few chances to talk about at the break. Cambridge 0, Burton 0.
And that would keep Burton bottom of the table. Shrewsbury would actually go second bottom. They are currently trailing by 1-0 at home to Barnsley. Earlier it finished. Mansfield 1, Birmingham 1, Reading 1, Bristol Rovers 0. Other scores for you then. We've got Cambridge United 0, Burton 0. We've just heard about Huddersfield currently 1-0 up against Exeter City. It's Bolton 0, Peterborough United 0, Lincoln 1, Stockport County 1. It's 2-0 to Northampton at half-time against Crawley. Rotherham 0, Stevenage 0, Barnsley lead by that 0-0 at Shrewsbury. And Wycombe Wanderers 2-0 up at home to Leyton Orient, and they will be going second in the League One table as it stands. Into League Two, Valley Parade, Bradford City, Doncaster Rovers. Naz Premji.
Bradford 0, Doncaster 0. A cracking game played at 100 miles an hour. Doncaster causing problems, especially down the right with Luke Molyneux. Had a number of top runs and chances. Kyle Hurst has tested Sam Walker on numerous occasions as well. Tyler Smith saw a goal-bound shot deflected behind for Bradford at the other end, and Andy Cook saw a header saved by Lowe right on half-time. Bradford 0, Doncaster 0.
The earlier full times, Colchester United 1, Salford 2 and Morecambe 2, Chesterfield 5. The leaders Port Vale lead AFC Wimbledon by 2-0 at half-time. If it stays like that, they will go 4 points clear at the top of the division. Other scores, Bromley 0, Barrow 1, Carlisle 0, Cheltenham 1. It's a goal apiece in the game between Crewe and Tranmere. Grimsby lead MK Dons by 1-0. It's 0-0 in the matches between Newport and Fleetwood, Notts County and Harrogate, and Swindon trail Gillingham by 1-0. Swindon, who've been down to 10 men since the first couple of minutes of that game. Into the National League, Barnet 2, Rochdale 0, Braintree 0, Sutton United 0, Eastleigh 0, Boston United 1, Ebbsfleet 0, Wealdstone 0. FC Halifax lead York City at the break by 1-0. It's 0-0 between Gateshead and Solihull Moors. Hartlepool United lead Aldershot by 1-0. Oldham 1, Dagenham and Redbridge 0. The leaders, Forest Green Rovers, going 3 points clear at the top as it stands. They lead Woking by 1-0 at half-time, but they've also, Forest Green, had a man sent off. Southend United 2, Tamworth 0, Yeovil 1, Maidenhead 1, and there's a 5:30 kickoff, which is AFC filed against Altrincham. Scottish Premiership, half-time, Dundee 1, St Johnstone 0, and Ross County 0, Kilmarnock 1. Kilmarnock 7th in the league and are off the back of that victory over Rangers last week. The 5:30 kickoff sees the co-leaders Aberdeen at home to Dundee United. Into the Scottish Championship, the leaders Falkirk are 1-0 up at the moment against Dunfermline. That would take them 7 points clear at the top of the league. Ayr United, who are in second, drawing 0-0 at the moment at Airdrieonians. Other half-times, 0-0 in the game between Hamilton and Morton. Wraith lead by 1-0 at Livingston, and Partick Thistle lead by 1-0 at Queen's Park. And you are up to date with all of the live football scores, so let's get the news on 5 Live with Jill McKenzie.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
Iran says it's obliged to defend itself after last night's air attacks by Israel, but it also recognises its responsibilities towards regional peace and security. Israel says it targeted 20 military sites in Iran in response to months of Iranian-backed attacks. BBC Persian's Param Gabadi has been following reaction inside Iran.
The Iranian state TV and Iranian media, they're playing down the effect of, they're already saying that our air defense system managed to thwart all the attacks and they're claiming victory. Some analysts believe that that is a strategy Iranians have adopted not to retaliate, to say that that was not a major attack, nothing major happened, so there's no need to send another barrage of missiles towards Israel.
There's more on this on the live news stream on BBC Sounds. The Metropolitan Police has warned the BBC that parts of an external review about Tim Westwood may interfere with justice if published. The former Radio 1 DJ has denied claims from several women who've accused him of predatory and unwanted sexual behaviour. The BBC's declined to comment, but has previously said it's working to make sure the report doesn't negatively affect any police investigation. Business leaders say they're concerned about a planned rise in the rate of national insurance paid by employers. BBC News has been told a 2 percentage point increase will be announced in Wednesday's budget, and there'll be a lower threshold at which employers start paying the tax. Martin McTague is National Chair of the Federation of Small Businesses.
What it'll do is damage growth. It certainly increases wages. It will reduce employment. There are investment impacts. And of course, the other unintended consequences, it tends to drive bogus self-employment because the NI costs are significantly lower.
The number of migrants who've crossed the Channel in small boats so far this year has passed the total for 2023. More than 29,500 migrants have made the journey since January. The government says it's established a border security command to tackle the issue. And East Asia's biggest annual Pride March has been held in Taiwan. The RuPaul's Drag Race winner, Nymphia Wind, who's Taiwanese-American, joined thousands of people on the streets of the capital.
Sometimes we'd be doing 10 million or 15 million in a week.
I'm Livy Haydock, and this is Gangster.
We had a bomb go off in their garage, which was quite frightening.
A tale of gangland feuds.
He made the Sunday Times rich list. He's known as a criminal mastermind.
A world of unimaginable wealth.
There, in plastic bags, was £1 million.
A story of police corruption.
Big fancy cars and big fast helicopters and planes.
Gangster.
All episodes available now.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is 5 Live Sport
with Steve Crossman.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
There's live commentary right now on 5 Sports Extra of Bath versus Sale in the Gallagher Premiership half-time. Bath 21, Sale 6. The other game, Gloucester versus Newcastle. Gloucester leading 26-0 at the break. And the 5:30 game is Saracens against Leicester, which we'll keep you up to date with later on 5 Live Sport. England's men's cricketers were soundly beaten by Pakistan before lunch on day 3 of the deciding test match in Rawalpindi. Skittled for 112 in their second innings. And then Pakistan reached their target of 36 off just 19 balls. You can listen to the TMS podcast right now. There was an historic victory for New Zealand as well in India. Their 113-run win puts them 2-0 up in a best-of-3 match series. So that's the first home series defeat for India since England won there back in 2012. And in the last big race of the flat season, the Futurity Trophy Stakes at Doncaster has been won by the 11-1 shot, Hot as Hell. A big win for Coventry in the Championship this lunchtime. They came from 2-0 down to beat Luton Town 3-2. Here's the Coventry boss, Mark Robbins.
The crowd have been fantastic. You know, I mean, I asked for that and I've got that. So I'm really, really happy. And the fact is that you can see, you know, the benefits of sticking with everybody and sticking with the players. I thank them for it because it's been difficult. But this is one step. You know, this is one step to making more steps into picking points up to climb the league and be where we want to be. But it's tough. It's been a really tough period for everybody. So, yeah, I want to thank them for that. Thank everybody for that. But again, we're not getting carried away. We've got to enjoy it, that's for sure. But we will enjoy it. And we've got 3 really tough games coming up. But it feels a lot better, and it should do as well because the level of that performance was really good, really good.
That's Mark Robbins. There's live Formula 1 and boxing across 5 Live and 5 Sports Extra this evening. Final practice for this weekend's Mexican Grand Prix on 5 Sports Extra at 6:25 and then qualifying at 9:55. As for the boxing, the main event, Chorley's Jack Catterall takes on the American Regis Prograis in their light welterweight bout in Manchester. There's commentary with Steve Bunce, Ronald McIntosh and the former lightweight world champion Anthony Crolla. Beginning with action from the undercard on 5 Sports Extra at 8 o'clock. It then switches to 5 Live and BBC Sounds from 10. Almost ready to get back underway at Villa Park. I can tell you in Scottish League 1, just underway in the 4 games there. Alloa 0, Arbroath 1, Dumbarton 1, Inverness 1, Montrose 0, Cove Rangers 0 and Stenhouse Muir 1, Kelty Hearts 0. Stephen Warnock, just looking at replays again of the was it in, was it out decision with the ball. It's one of those where it can be deceptive, can't it? Because you can see a bit of daylight But we've seen this before. I remember it in a Japan game at the World Cup. You never know. So it's a big call for the VAR to say they were certain.
Yeah, and they took the time doing it, making that decision, which is understandable, but I think we got to the correct decision. It was the first initial replay that we saw, Steve. It just looked like it hadn't crossed the line, and that's the beauty of VAR, being able to slow it down, being able to zoom in it as much as possible. So I think they came to the right decision eventually.
So VAR not needing a kick up the backside, and hopefully, Ian Dennis, you've had your last of the day too.
I hope so too. There was words exchanged, politely of course, at half-time.
Steve, to be honest with you, I'm just glad Ian Dennis is here this week, because I've heard he's been up a ladder all week doing jobs, rendering the house, doing his steps at his mother-in-law's house. It's just good to see that he's safe and sound, that he's here.
You see, that's why you should never believe everything Paul Robinson tells you. Because
is it true?
The rendering was done about a fortnight ago.
Yeah, but were you up a ladder?
I was doing the rendering,
yeah, there you go.
I don't have many talents. I wouldn't actually say that rendering's one of them either, looking at it, but anyway, there's a change more importantly that has been made, and Ross Barkley is coming on. So Ross Barkley to replace Onana in the midfield for Aston Villa, who line up with Martinez, Cash, Konsa, Torres and Digne, Tielemans, Barkley and McGinn, Ramsey, Watkins and Rodgers. Aston Villa in their claret and sky blue shirts and white shorts, and Bournemouth in their changed strip of all green, who's get the game actually underway. Travers in goal, Smith first half substitute, Senesi, Zabani and Kirkes, Christie, Cook and Ouattara, Kluivert, Semenyo and Unal. 0-0, and Tielemans is there to hook the ball away inside his own penalty area, but Semenyo comes and gets the shot in, blocked. Falling backwards was Konsa to clear, but Bournemouth have got it back. Here is Cook out towards Smith over on that far side, so they're attacking the north stand. For those of you who know Villa Park, it means that Aston Villa will be attacking the Holt End in this second period on BBC Radio 5 Live and the World Service. And with Brentford 2, Ipswich 2, Brighton 1, Wolves 0 and Manchester City 1, Southampton 0 in the 3 o'clock games, this is the only goalless affair. As we go to Manchester City and John Bennett.
Phil Foden inches away from scoring a second goal for Manchester City. Southampton have made a change. Adam Armstrong is on. Tyler Dibbling has gone off. Man City 1, Southampton 0.
Grimsby Town 1, MK Dons 1. So MK Dons with an equaliser at Grimsby in League 2. We'll give you the goals as we usually do on a Saturday afternoon. And don't forget as well that you can listen through the BBC Sounds app, which gives you an opportunity to rewind, play back and pause. Sadly, it doesn't give you the option to forward wind. As Zabani to this near side with the interception from Cash, and Aston Villa are on the attack, and Cash is propped up in a central area now, and then it's pulled back to Tielemans. He goes square, McGinn rolls it out with his left foot, then opts to cross to Rodgers, pulls it back. Tielemans gets there before Cash. They both wanted a shooting opportunity. Tielemans did get the shot away, took a deflection, loops behind for a corner as Preston have got a third at home park. Plymouth 0, Preston North End 3 in the Championship.
Matty Cash was just hoping that would open up so he could get his shot away with his right foot. Tielemans wanted it though, but credit to Lewis Cook. Got out, got close to Tielemans and got a block on the shot.
As Tielemans wanders across towards that far side, the left, the Belgian national flag was waved in the stand in front of him. He goes in towards the near post. It was a good header out by Ouattara, very brave to dive down around knee height. Tielemans sweeps over the cross again. This time it's Christie to head it out. It's going to come towards Cash, controls it right-footed, plays the ball towards the far post. Zabani's headed away, and then running back, Ouattara glances the header behind for another corner kick, and Aston Villa have started the second half strongly.
Yeah, they do so well at set pieces, Aston Villa, because once the ball comes in, they hem you in. They have players in positions to make sure that when it's cleared, they're on the second ball and they can put the ball back into a dangerous area straight away.
Very crowded penalty area. Tielemans with the corner. Travers got something on it with a leading right arm. Comes out towards Cash on this right-hand side, 10 yards inside the Bournemouth half, and then the ball is played out towards Tielemans. He plays it down the line, and this is an opportunity to fire over the cross once again by Ramsey, repelled by the Bournemouth defence. Bournemouth at the moment just can't get out of their own half. Here is Tielemans, finds Cash as a solitary figure inside the centre circle. MK Dons now lead at Grimsby by 2-1 as Smith will marshal this ball safely out for a goal kick. It remains 0-0 and we'll go to the Amex and John Southall,
where Brighton lead Wolves by a 0-0, but 2 changes for Wolves at half-time. Totti Gomez and Lemina have gone off for Forbes and Sarabia. They've gone to about 4 Wolves. Brighton 1, Wolves 0.
Commentary to come after Sports Report. We'll give you all the results and the reaction at 5, and then at 5:30 commentary from Goodison. Everton against Fulham. Flick header by Unal. Ouattara on that far side, the left. Beaten to the ball by Pau Torres. Runs it out for a throw. Taken quickly, but Aston Villa have dealt with it. And the substitute Barkley now is midway through his own half. Referee's played an advantage. There was a handball in there. The referee, Chris Kavanagh, letting the game flow. Another goal in the Championship at Bramall Lane. Shojo Saka.
Sheffield United 2, Stoke City 0. Good work by Raksaki, and it's Therese Campbell, let go by Stoke in the summer, picked up by Sheffield United, turn and finish from 6 yards out. Sheffield United 2, Stoke City 0.
Back to winning ways for Chris Wilder's side after back-to-back defeats, and Barnsley now lead 2-0 at Shrewsbury in League One. You're up to date with the goals as they go in. 0-0 here at Villa Park. Manchester City, John Bennett has an update.
It's all Manchester City at the start of this second half. Erling Haaland has just had a header saved off the line. Surely they're getting closer to that second goal. Man City 1, Southampton 0.
And remember, Ipswich were leading 2-0 at Brentford, but Brentford made it back all square at 2-2. We're level here at Villa Park. Tielemans curls the ball out under the clear blue skies. Back to Tielemans on the halfway line, and then Pau Torres to the sky blue of Emi Martinez.
Just started to control the game now, Aston Villa. Come out and asserted their dominance. Barkley and Tielemans are dominating this midfield battle between the two teams. I just wonder whether Onana being booked was the reason he was hooked, or whether it was a tactical reason.
And we'll try and find out if we can get to Unai Emery live before 5:30. It's never great here to get live reaction at Villa Park. As soon as I said that, I felt the eyes of our producer Gary Flintoff staring into the back of my head. Not as painful as a kick up the backside, I can tell you, as they throw to Aston Villa on the right. Still looking for the breakthrough goal here. Cash, looping throw, chested off by Watkins. Rodgers unable to let it settle. Tielemans hit it first time. Left-footed, took a deflection on its way through, corner kick.
Yeah, well done, Christie. Ryan Christie throws himself at the ball, makes sure he gets the block on the shot, because he put everything through that. Tielemans strikes it on his weaker left foot, but what a strike it was.
Tielemans with the corner kick. Ouattara, I think, turned his back on it, and then it came off a Villa player in a crowded penalty area, and it spooned behind and out for a goal kick. Crew 2, Tranmere 1. Let's go to Manchester City. John Bennett.
You don't hear this very often. Erling Haaland has missed a sitter, crossed to the back post, should have turned it in, but it went wide. He can't believe it. Still Manchester City 1, Southampton 0.
5 Live boxing tonight actually comes from Manchester. Jack Catterall against the American Regis Prograis. 5 Live boxing at 10. But before that, Goodison commentary, and then 6:06 at around 7:30 with Chris Sutton and Robbie Savage. Bournemouth are attacking. Ouattara goes to ground far too easily. Aston Villa can bring the ball away. Will nip to Sunderland. Charlie Slater.
10 minutes gone in the second half. Sunderland 1, Oxford United 0. Nearly 2 though. Joe Bellingham hit the top of the crossbar from 25 yards out. Still 1-0 Sunderland.
Leon Bailey is warming up for Aston Villa. He scored in both of the games that these two played last season. He's going through a bit of a goal drought though, is Leon Bailey, as the Aston Villa supporters are still creating a healthy atmosphere inside Villa Park. The noise that when they played Bayern in the Champions League, and indeed when I heard it against Bologna in midweek when we were getting updates, it has been absolutely belting the atmosphere for European nights. An Aston Villa side that is top of the Champions League group, the league phase. Quite healthy actually when you consider that Manchester City and Liverpool are behind them in the top 3. We'll have commentary of Arsenal Liverpool tomorrow from 4:30 as part of 5 Live's Premier League Sunday, as Christie, who scored that fine goal against Arsenal last week on the South Coast, links up with Smith. Northampton have got a third. Northampton 3, Crawley 0. Plymouth have got a goal back. Plymouth 1, Preston 3. A penalty now at Brentford, Lee Blakeman.
Penalty to Brentford, a chance to complete the comeback, and Bumo to take it after Harry Clark brought down Keane Lewis Potter. Debate over who was going to take it. It is going to be Mbumo. Referee blows his whistle, and Mbumo steps up, left foot, and puts it down the middle. Brentford have turned this game around. Brentford 3, Ipswich 2.
What a missed opportunity for Ipswich Town when you're looking for your first win and you go 2-0 up.
Well, we talked about that opportunity before for Schmodix. Blasted the goalkeeper from 14 yards out. That's the difference in the Premier League. You get punished.
Cook shows good strength to hold off Rodgers. Lewis Cook, who's been such an excellent buy from Leeds United. £10 million they bought him for from 2016. As here we're going to have another yellow card, and it is for John McGinn, who's gone into the book for stopping Kirkes running past him.
It was a clothesline from John McGinn. He knew exactly what he was doing, John McGinn. He just couldn't be bothered running back. He'd lost his man, and again another cynical foul, because there's been so many of them in this game.
8 yellow cards we've now had in this game. Derby 0, Hull City 1 is the latest score in the Championship. And in the Yorkshire Derby at League 2, Doncaster Rovers have taken the lead at Valley Parade. It was 5th against 4th, and Doncaster are leading by 1-0. No other goals elsewhere. 0-0 here at Villa Park. Under the clear blue skies is Zabani, his forward ball. And there is going to be a Villa change, and John Duran is going to be coming on. He's made such an impact off the bench on numerous occasions this season. He did start that game against Bologna in the Champions League. As meanwhile Ramsey attacks for Aston Villa. Ramsey to the edge of the area, gets the shot away, comes back towards Ramsey, and then Smith will run it out towards that far side. Notts County lead Harrogate Town by 1-0 in League 2. But it's just going to be the one change for Aston Villa, despite warming up of Leon Bailey, and it's going to be Morgan Rodgers who's going to be coming off. As Aston Villa on that far side, the ball played in now towards Barkley, a half-time substitute, still 0-0. 10-11 minutes now into the second half here. Here is Tielemans. Konsa wants it to feet just outside the centre circle, but it was a forward ball that Ramsey will play back, and now they've worked it forward. Digne gets round the back left-hand side. Digne with the cross. Watkins tried to get it with his head, comes out towards Barkley, couldn't get the shooting opportunity, but the referee has blown his whistle, and there's a Bournemouth player down away towards our right, and that will be a free kick to Bournemouth. Stephen,
I don't know whether it's a free kick, Deno, or he's just whistled because of a head injury, but lovely play down the left-hand side from Luca Digne. Little 1-2 with Ramsey, and then he stands it up to the back post, and it's a collision of heads. It's not a foul from Ollie Watkins, but dangerous play from Aston Villa.
Let's get news of that goal at Valley Parade from Naz Premji.
Kyle Hurst it was that played in. Luke Molineux on that left-hand side, and a lovely low finish past the keeper Walker. Bradford 0, Doncaster 1.
So John Duran is coming on. 8 goals in 37 appearances last season. 7 so far in 12 this, as he gets a lovely ovation from the Villa Park faithful. Let's get the team news from our next commentary. Goodison Park, Conor McNamara.
Everton who beat Ipswich 2-0 last weekend. They're now unbeaten in 4, and Sean Dyche is able to name an unchanged team today. One change on the bench of significance, though, is that Jared Branthwaite is back available again. Fulham, the visitors. Marco Silva's made fewer changes to his starting teams this season than any other Premier League coach, but one enforced change today because Anderson is suspended. Diop comes into the defence.
5:30. Connor joined by Connor Cody for that commentary after Sports Report at 5:30 here, as Digne is the latest recipient of a yellow card, the 5th Aston Villa player to be booked. The way we're going, the odds are increasing of one of these players seeing red.
Yeah, quite possibly. Late from Luca Digne. Ouattara just glides past him, and it's a foul where he just knocks it, and then he clips his heels as he goes by, knowing that he's not going to get anywhere near him.
And Bournemouth are still very much in this contest. They have lost their last 2 away games without scoring since that epic comeback at Everton. They caused more than a few problems that day, as they now have this free kick that is swept in, and it's right down the throat of Emi Martinez. But they are proving to be rather stubborn opposition as far as Aston Villa are concerned. 2 quick goals at Vale Park. It's Port Vale 3, Wimbledon 1. The League Two leaders had gone 3-0 up, but Wimbledon have quickly got a goal back. Update from Brighton, John Southall.
Brighton 1, Wolves 0. Opening for Wolves, corner on the left-hand side. Strand Larsen with the header of the near post, straight at Verbruggen. It was a chance. Brighton 1, Wolves 0.
Match of the day tonight, 10:20 on BBC One. Alan Shearer is in the studio tonight. He'll be with 5 Live on Wednesday night at St James's Park for League Cup commentary of Newcastle against Chelsea. Now, Semenyo has just gone and brought down Duran. Why is that not a yellow card?
I don't really think it is a yellow card. I think the theatrics from John Duran is a little bit too much. Yes, he got tangled in the way that they collided together, but it's not a yellow card. Semenyo doesn't even have a nibble at the ball. Duran almost kicks through him.
And that's why we have Stephen Warnock alongside us, whilst the Aston Villa supporters were crying out for a yellow. To the professional, trained eye, Stephen Warnock says no. Ross County 1, Kilmarnock 1. Still 0-0 here, but another goal at Sunderland. Charlie Slater.
Where Sunderland have doubled their lead, and this one is a beauty. The ball lifted over the top, and watching it drop over his shoulder, Wilson Isidore hits it first time on the volley, off the far post and in. So good, his teammates had their hands on their head. 2-0 Sunderland.
Thank you, Charlie. Ball played forward by Barkley from a free kick for Aston Villa. Duran dropping deep. Duran playing the ball now out towards that far side. The layoff by Digne. Pau Torres passes the ball forward. Ramsey lays it off. Duran, there's cries of shoot there. He was about 40 yards out from goal. There's no way through the middle. Stopped by Christie. Then Bournemouth give it away. Here is McGinn. McGinn releases Ramsey. Central area, 35 yards out from goal. There was again not a great deal of width to that far side, the left, as Huddersfield Town have got a second goal at home to Exeter in League One. And now Barkley has to slide into the challenge, and he hooks it along the ground towards Cash, who cuts in off this right touchline as they attack the Holt end. Tielemans shrugs off the challenge of Unal, finds McGinn, enters the penalty area right hand side, crosses on the run. Zabani stabs it away, helped out by Christie. Aston Villa building up the pressure. Pau Torres, I thought he was going to shoot. He will shoot, but it's tipped over by Travers. He hit it left-footed, one-handed save by Travers, corner kick, still goalless.
Oh, we saw a magnificent save in the first half, down the same end, in the same top corner, and this time it's from the opposition goalkeeper. It's Travers who plucks one out the top corner from Pau Torres. What a hit, but what a strong right hand to push it over the bar.
I remember his debut against Tottenham a few years ago now, towards the end of the season, and he pulled out some saves there. He's done so today again. Travers, in comes the corner, flicked on at the near post behind Watkins at the far post. It will run out of play for another corner kick. Bournemouth are going to be making changes, and these are positive changes that are going to be made, because Marcus Tavernier is going to be coming on, as well as Ivan Nilsson. Unal will go off for Ivan Nilsson as the corner is taken short to Cash, clips over the cross, and the header again pushed away by Travers. There is no beating Mark Travers. This time it was Watkins who climbed high, and another one-handed save.
Oh wow, what a save, even better than the first save. Stand the ball up to the back post, Watkins gets the header. He's static on his line, that's why it's so impressive. He's almost got his feet caught together, then he pushes the ball over the bar with his right hand.
Corner again from the left, work to the corner of the area, cross comes in, Ouattara sweeps it away. Tavernier will come on for Kluivert. Ivan Nilsson will come on for Enes Unal as the ball goes back to Martinez. As Cash now on this near side, no other goals elsewhere to tell you about. Aston Villa with Watkins find Barkley. There's width on the left, but Barkley through the middle at the moment. Passes the ball towards Duran, out towards Ramsey, interception from Smith. Digne is high up the pitch on that far side, the left, and was a willing runner. Here is Ramsey, Duran will shoot, strikes the legs of Watkins and will run out of play for a goal kick. Derby have equalised at home to Hull City, 1-1 in the Championship. Wycombe now lead Leyton Orient by 3-0. Bournemouth are going to be making a double change, which will be happening now, I think, once Craig Pawson has got the instruction. They're happy to do so. I think they're just checking on Christie, who's gone down picking up an injury before this double change can be made. And in the meantime, we'll go to Manchester City and John Bennett.
Manchester City 1, Southampton 0. Another missed chance by Erling Haaland. Brilliant cross by Savinho, who's been excellent. It beat the goalkeeper, but Haaland from a tight angle couldn't divert it towards goal. Pep Guardiola couldn't believe it. Man City 1, Southampton 0.
Double change is now happening that I told you about. Meanwhile, after that, we will now go to John Southall, Brighton against Wolves.
Where Brighton lead Wolves by 1-0. It's just gone a little bit flat in this second half. Remember, if Brighton win today, they'll be into the top 4. Brighton 1, Wolves 0.
And Brentford, Ipswich, Lee Blakeman.
Brentford 3, Ipswich 2, but it should be 4 for Brentford because the ball's just come in from the right, picked out Keane Lewis Potter 7 yards out, looked like he was going to score, block came in out of nowhere to keep it at Brentford 3, Ipswich 2.
Bradford City's 5-match unbeaten run is going to be coming to an end, it would seem, because in the Yorkshire Derby at Valley Parade, Doncaster Rovers have got a second. Bradford City 0, Doncaster Rovers 2, and St Johnstone have equalised at Dundee in the Scottish Premiership. 1-1 between those two. We've been playing now for nearly 65 minutes here, and it remains 0-0. And Bournemouth now with those changes. Tavernier playing to the left, Ivan Nilsson, Christie in behind. Semenyo's just dropped a little bit further back on this left-hand side for the time being. Ouattara operates on the right. Positive changes though from Andoni Iraola.
Something that we spoke about before the show, when you think about going 2-0 down to Everton at Goodison Park, he made those positive changes. Even against Arsenal last week when they weren't 1-0 ahead, he continued to press and make positive changes, so it just shows you his mindset in games.
Well, let's bring you news of that second Doncaster goal from Naz Premji.
Bradford 0, Doncaster 2. Carl Hurst with a delivery from the left, sliding in Billy Sharp to double the advantage. Bradford 0, Doncaster 2.
Both sides doing well at the top of the table. That Doncaster Rovers 2-0 up there in West Yorkshire. As here is Concert, left of the centre circle. As we approach the midway point of this second half, Tielemans goes square. Barkley forward to John Duran, shows his strength to get away from one challenge and then runs into trouble in the shape of Christie, but Duran nips it off him and then hits it first time. And then it was almost like a shot in slow motion off his left boot, and I wondered if Travers had gone down too early, but he did make the save and he smothered it well.
Yeah, he just didn't catch it at all, almost comes off the end of his toe, so then there's no real pace on the shot. Perhaps could have picked out his teammate at the back post. Ollie Watkins was just loitering beyond the centre-back and hadn't been picked up.
You think back to last season, Stephen, and Bournemouth failed to win any of their opening 9 Premier League games, and yet they still finished 12th. They are a club also progressing rather nicely under their own Spanish coach.
Yeah, they certainly are, but having lost the goals of Dominic Solanke, it's even more impressive that they're managing to do that. What I like about them is there's a real resilience, and they've got a young team, really young back four, and then you look at that and you think they understand how to stay in games, how to manage the situations. They've done that because they could have been 2 or 3-0 down in the first half.
Cook, tidy as ever in the midfield, passes the ball, gets it back from Smith, linking up the play, Cook, and then back to Zabani. As Bournemouth pass it back to Travers in front of the Holt end, all in yellow, right-footed downfield. Digne will beat Ouattara in the air over on that far side, the right, comes to Zabani, right-footed volleyed ball forward. The header from Barkley will go all the way back to Emi Martinez. So we're midway through the second half and it remains 0-0, and there is activity on the bench. It's going to be a double change. We're going to have Leon Bailey coming on as well as Ian Martson, as there's a player down for Aston Villa. That'll be a free kick. It's Duran who's been chopped on his right ankle just inside the Bournemouth half, and Unai Emery is just told to calm down by the fourth official.
He's so animated on the line, isn't he, Unai Emery? Kicks every ball, makes every challenge, contests every foul that is against his team.
He said ahead of the game, did Andoni Iraola, it's been a difficult week, but they are, despite those difficulties with injury, no Sinisteri or Scott out injured, Kepa Arrizabalaga out with last minute injury and then billing with illness, are still looking to try and pick up a very useful point here at Villa Park. Just over 20 minutes remaining. Brighton Wolves, update from John Southall.
Brighton 1, Wolves 0, but a chance for Wolves. Kuna on the left hand side, he shot wide with the right hand post. They're still in this, Wolves. Brighton 1, Wolves 0.
Bournemouth are very much in this. Semenyo on the left hand side, rolls it back to Cook, infield to Tavernier. Tavernier, forward ball to Kirkes, high up the pitch on this near side, the left, opens up for Kirkes there, doesn't look to shoot, instead passes the ball back out to the left touch line towards Semenyo. Semenyo though delivers the cross, Ouattara creeping round the back, and Cash did well under pressure to get it away from Tavernier. Might have actually caught Cash in the process. Aston Villa meanwhile get it over the halfway line and finds Watkins. Senesi though dives into the challenge and wins the ball well. No wonder he's applauded by the Bournemouth bench, as now all of a sudden Bournemouth are on the attack again. Tavernier, Rotherham 1, Stevenage 0 is the latest score in League 1. Lincoln City 2, Stockport 1 is also a latest score in that same division. Just over 20 minutes remaining then on BBC Radio 5 Live, the World Service, and always available on the BBC Sounds app. Whether it's today, and that commentary to come from Goodison at 5:30, Everton Fulham, or tomorrow for 5 Live Premier League Sunday. West Ham Manchester United at 2, to be followed by Arsenal Liverpool at 4:30. As Cook, good spell this for the away side.
Yeah, just been calm, and the same in the first half, where they just managed to slow the game down, take it down to their tempo. Just wonder whether that's why they're in here, Bournemouth.
Ball to Ivan Nilsson off the chest, manages to cut it back from a very tight angle. Actually fell off the side of the pitch behind that goal, left of the Emi Martinez. Aston Villa get it up towards Duran, and they win the ball back again. Christie, forward ball, this is Tavernier, just wouldn't settle to get the shooting opportunity, passes the ball to Ouattara, overhits it, and out for a goal kick. Let's get an update from the leaders of the Championship. So it means that we're going to the Stadium of Light, where Sunderland could be going 5 points clear. Charlie Slater.
Yeah, with 74 minutes on the clock, they are excellent value for it. They're in front, 2-0, could be more than that. They have been sublime. Best thing I can say about Oxford, it's a fine town with a good university, because they're not in this game. They're trailing 2-0.
Trying to keep pace with Sunderland are Burnley. They're at home to Queen's Park Rangers. Nathan Alban.
New half, same story, Ian. All Burnley possession, but no clear-cut chances. If this was a cup game, I'll be drawing up my penalty grid. Burnley 0, QPR 0.
Ian Martson has come on to replace Digne, like for like, left back for left back, and Leon Bailey has come on for John McGinn. They're the two changes for Aston Villa, still being held at home. West Bromwich Albion, they've had 3 successive draws before today. They're at home to Cardiff. Pat Murphy.
They're on course for another one, Ian. They're closing up shop here, Cardiff, and they're still trying desperately hard, West Brom. Dean Garner, lovely piece of skill, fine tip over by the keeper. West Brom 0, Cardiff 0.
Senesi comes across, slides into the challenge, gets the ball first as the referee Chris Kavanagh. As Rotherham 2, Stevenage 0 is the latest score. Bailey is on his feet. Unai Emery is still getting some instructions across, as Christie then has just caught concert, just coming together. It was purely accidental. That will be a free kick to the home side. 18 minutes remaining. It's turning out to a frustrating afternoon.
It is, and the Aston Villa fans are just starting to sort of voice their opinion. They want more from the team. They're getting a little bit anxious, the fans.
Lee Blakeman has seen 5 goals and now a red card.
And it's gone to Ipswich's Harry Clark. He's just been done by Keane Lewis Potter again. Clark brought him down, edge of the area, second yellow, off he goes. Brentford 3, Ipswich 2.
Brentford 3, Ipswich 2, Brighton and Hove Albion 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0, Manchester City leads Southampton by 1-0, 0-0 here. Commentary to come of Everton against Fulham at Goodison. No other goals elsewhere around the country to tell you about, as Konsa hits the forward ball towards Duran. It'll come off the legs of Senesi, goes out for a Villa throw on this near right hand side, still pressing. Unai Emery still trying to tweak those instructions to his players. Very, very animated, whilst Irola looks extremely relaxed just to his right.
You asked me a question in the first half, and you said about Araujo coming off before in the first half, how that makes you feel. Imagine how Harry Clark feels. Own goal and a red card.
Here is Duran, hits it first time, and he's put it wide. It came to him, picked his spot, left-footed, looked very, very close, judging by the reaction as we look away towards our right. And Aston Villa, with some 16 minutes remaining, and John Duran, unlucky, just couldn't hit the target as it whistled wide.
He should score. A player of his calibre is finishing. The goal's gaping, it's open for him. He's around about 9 yards out, 10 yards out, and he just opens his left foot out, tries to bend it into the bottom corner, puts it past the post. Big opportunity for Aston Villa.
And as at the moment we've got Kirkes is down. I think the Villa crowd think that this is just a little bit of gamesmanship. He's been told by referee Chris Kavanagh to get to his feet. We'll nip to Manchester City. John Bennett.
Manchester City 1, Southampton 0. City not taking their chances, they're dominating, but it's making things nervy, and Adam Armstrong has just had a chance for Saints, a shot just over the bar. Manchester City 1, Southampton 0.
16 minutes remaining, 0-0. Eva Nilsson climbs in the air over Tielemans, drops towards Pau Torres behind the two of them. He goes square to his central defensive partner Konsa, turns back to Emi Martinez, quickly out from his feet. Torres then runs towards that far side, makes himself available to collect that ball left of the penalty area, but Bournemouth once again pressing, and it goes out of play for a Villa throw. Brighton Wolves, John Southall.
Brighton 1, Wolves 0, but another opportunity for Wolves. Free kick on the right, Bueno with the header tipped over by Verbruggen. Brighton 1, Wolves 0.
Bournemouth are going to be making their third and final change, as two players have been called towards Andoni Iraola, who is just giving his instructions. David Brooks is going to be one of them, and it looks like Tyler Adams, who's going to be coming on as well. He's been warming up with David Brooks. So Bournemouth looking to make changes. A long time out as Tyler Adams through injury, but this will just be to try and shore things up. Here is Bailey meanwhile. His ball in field takes a deflection, might run through to Eva Nilsson. But there was Pau Torres, gives the shout towards Konsa, and he's got plenty of time to control this ball. We'll be going through all the divisions, giving all the latest scores as we wind up towards Sports Report with 14 minutes remaining. Wimbledon are staging a fight back against the League Two leaders. Port Vale 3, Wimbledon 2. Darren Moore's side unbeaten in 9, worth 3-0 up there. Here is Ramsey now, area to run into, accelerates, running forward, gliding across the surface, finds Watkins, edge of the area. Maatsen was on the overlap. Watkins drops his shoulder, enters the box, now feeds it to Maatsen, sends over the cross. Bailey is there, he heads it forward and still in by Ross Barkley of all people. And Aston Villa finally get the breakthrough with 14 minutes remaining. His last Villa goal was in his first spell some 3 years ago, and Ross Barkley pops up with the all-important goal. Villa 1, Bournemouth 0.
Well, there's a moments in games where things just aren't quite going your way, and you need a moment of magic from an individual, and they just get it from Ollie Watkins. He drops his shoulder, he just shimmies and gives himself a little bit of space in the penalty area, dinks a cross out to the back post, but how well does Maatsen do to dink it to the back post and pick out Leon Bailey? Leon Bailey does extremely well, he's going backwards, just puts it into the path of Ross Barkley. He's brave, he slides, gets the ball beyond Travers. What a goal, what a moment for Aston Villa.
It was the perfect setup by Leon Bailey, wasn't it? If you think sometimes when you're playing volleyball and you get somebody at the net who just tees it up, the way that he just headed it forward was soft enough for Barkley just to hit it first time on the slide.
Yeah, he just stuns it, doesn't he? And then all the defenders don't really react to the situation because it's a perfect header. The weight of the header is sublime from Bailey. Instant impact from the substitutes.
Well, Bournemouth are still going to be making those changes as well, as Villa lead by a goal to 0. Let's go to Brighton, John Southall.
Where Brighton still lead Wolves by 1 goal to 0, but they're getting closer. Wolves, Cunha with the cross from the right hand side. There was Strand Larsen with the header 7 yards out, saved by Verbruggen. Brighton 1, Wolves 0.
Bournemouth with Ouattara attacking right hand side towards the byline, pulls it back now. Tavernier gets it out from underneath his feet, can't get a shooting opportunity, moved out of the penalty area. Kirkes with a heavy touch will win a corner nevertheless off his right footed effort that took a ball spinning away behind. So Brooks is going to be coming on for Semenyo. That'll be one of the changes, and we wait to see who Tyler Adams will be coming on for. His last appearance Well, actually, his last game was actually for the United States against Uruguay in July, but he hasn't played for Bournemouth since May because he required back surgery in the summer. So he was an unused substitute against Arsenal last week. As in comes the corner kick, it's an in-swinger right down the throat of Martinez.
Aston Villa are going to make a change as well.
And it is going to be Camera who's going to be coming on for Aston Villa. A player like Tyler Adams, who only recently has just come back from injury, did his ACL back in February, came on for the last 12 minutes against Bologna in the Champions League. Let's get an update from Brentford. Lee Blakeman.
Brentford 3, Ipswich 2. Brentford should have just wrapped this up. Mikkel Damsgaard, right side of the area, put in a low shot. Excellent save by Muric for 10-man Ipswich to keep it at Brentford 3, Ipswich 2.
Adams is going to be coming on for Ryan Christie, so his 100th league start for Bournemouth will be over. We know that Brooks will replace Semenyo, and Camera is going to be coming on for Ollie Watkins. That will be the Aston Villa change when it happens. There's been no other goals elsewhere around the country. As Semenyo, who will be coming off very, very soon, enters the penalty area, left-hand side. Cash dives in. Oh, and the referee has actually given it as a free kick, and Semenyo is going to be shown a yellow card for the dive.
Yeah, well, there's no appeal from Semenyo. He almost gets up embarrassed about the situation. We're just seeing it again on our monitors. I thought Matty Cash had dived in. I've got a view of it, but it's not the clearest. I have to see it again from a different angle. Oh, I think that's clumsy from Matty Cash, I really do. I don't think it'll be overturned, but he's a little bit lucky. But Semenyo's looking for it. He leaves his legs and almost collapses down to the ground.
Well, Andoni Iraola is livid. He's been told to calm down by Craig Pawson, which he's apologised to. It will be looked as a matter of course by Jared Gillett, the VAR official. Meanwhile, the changes are about to happen here. And there's been a goal in our featured game in League One. Flo Pollock at the Valley.
Goal for Wrexham. They lead Charlton 2-1 now. Andy Cannon put a ball across goal, reverberated back to him, and then he slotted it in between the goalkeeper's legs. Charlton 1, Wrexham 2.
Ross County 2, Kilmarnock 1 is the latest score in the Scottish Premiership. Plymouth staging a fight back. They're now only trailing 3-2 home to Preston. Plymouth 2, Preston North End 3, and the prolific Andy Cook has scored for Bradford City as they've got a goal back at home to Doncaster Rovers. Bradford City 1, Doncaster 2, Crewe 3, Tranmere 1. And I would imagine that the check is over, is it, or is it still ongoing? Hard to tell, isn't it?
I know, it's just gone so quiet because of the changes. I think it is literally just the substitutes that they're trying to get onto the pitch now. But credit to Chris Kavanagh. What a spot that was to realise in full flow that there wasn't contact made by Matty Cash and that he collapses his legs and goes to ground.
Well, he's shown a number of yellow cards, but he's tried to let the game flow, and he's certainly made a number of good decisions in that respect today. Latest scores then around the ground. In fact, I'll tell you what, let's get that goal at Valley Parade from Naz Premji.
Yeah, cross from the left here. Andy Cook with a bullet header. Graham Alexander made 5 changes. They may have worked. Bradford 1, Doncaster 2.
We'll have news of Aberdeen Dundee United at 5:30 with from Kenny Crawford into our next commentary from Goodison that comes up after Sports Report. The 2 latest scores in the Scottish Premiership: Dundee 1, St Johnstone 1, and Kilmarnock, who are down to 10 men, still trail at Ross County. Ross County 2, Kilmarnock 1. Aston Villa lead by a goal to nil. The 2 results in the early games in League 2: Colchester 1, Salford City 2, Morecambe 2, Chesterfield 5. So Morecambe remain bottom of the table. These are the latest scores: Accrington 0, Walsall 0, Bradford 1, Doncaster 2, Bromley 0, Barrow 1, Carlisle 0, Cheltenham 1, Crewe 3, Tranmere 1, Grimsby 1, MK Dons 2. Goalless between Newport and Fleetwood. Notts County still lead Harrogate Town by a goal to nil. The leaders, Port Vale, who were 3-0 up, still lead, but Wimbledon have pegged them back. Port Vale 3, Wimbledon 2, and Swindon Town, who sacked their manager Mark Kennedy yesterday, down to 10 men early on, are trailing at home to Gillingham, who've lost their last 5, but Gillingham are leading by a goal to nil. The 2 results in League 1: Mansfield 1, Birmingham 1, the leaders. Reading 1, Bristol Rovers 0. That's a third straight win then for Reading. Doing well under Ruben Selles. Latest scores: Bolton 0, Peterborough 0, Cambridge 0, Burton 0. Burton still without a win this season. In the bottom of the table of League One, Charlton 1, Wrexham 2 as the ball goes back to Travers. Duran closes him down and the ball goes out of play for a throw. Huddersfield 2, Exeter 0, Lincoln 2, Stockport 1, Northampton 3, Crawley 0, Rotherham 2, Stevenage 0, Shrewsbury 0, Barnsley 2, and Wycombe Wanderers going well, looking to go 10 unbeaten, are leading Leyton Orient by 3 goals to 0. The Championship and the Premier League to come. But here on 5 Live and the World Service and the BBC Sounds app, with 6 minutes remaining, that sense of frustration, it's eased after that goal from Ross Barkley, his first for the club in his second spell, as they have a slender lead. Even Nilsson running forward in the all green of Bournemouth on this near side, the left. They've doubled up on him, the 2 central defenders, Concert and Torres. Inside, shot then is away from Tavernier, and it goes behind and out for a goal kick. Let's get an update from Manchester City. John Bennett.
Manchester City still have that 1-goal lead against Southampton, but Saints feel they've got an opportunity here to nick a draw. They are gaining in confidence. Ilkay Gundogan just about to come on for Man City. Man City 1, Southampton 0.
2 results in the Championship: Bristol City 0, Leeds United 0, Coventry 3, Luton Town 2, Watford 1, Blackburn Rovers 0. I'll give you the latest scores after this corner kick for Bournemouth. They had a change of mind as well. We were told from the Premier League app that Semenyo was going to be coming off for David Brooks, but Semenyo hasn't gone off. Here is the corner. It's a wild one. It's swung over high towards Brooks, headed away by,
he wants handball,
by Bailey. And they're appealing for handball here at Bournemouth. Again, it would be checked. Chris Kavanagh at the minute is surrounded by 5 Bournemouth players. It was Brooks for Kirkes, so they were looking at Brooks for Semenyo at one stage, but Kirkes was the player who went off for David Brooks. Goal at Cambridge in that basement clash. Rich Wolfenden.
Cambridge 1, Burton 0. A free kick swung into the box, dropped by the Burton goalkeeper Max Crocombe, and there to smash him from a few yards out was Jordan Cousins. The Abbey Stadium had liftoff. 1-0 to Cambridge.
They've had a look at it. It was a high one, it was dropping. It did strike the left arm of Leon Bailey, but his arm is moving away from his body and it's quite low.
Yeah, you don't want to see those given for penalties. I don't like that at all. I understand the Bournemouth players think he's got his arm stretched out wide, but VAR having a look at it, that is not sending off. And now Semenyo has caused a problem. We've just seen him booked for simulation, and he's furious about the lack of a penalty given against Aston Villa.
He's looking. It was just a stern talking to. Cook with a corner kick, delivered towards the far post. Ouattara climbs, might drop towards the head of Semenyo. Headed out by Duran. Picked up on this near side by Brooks, out towards Cook. Cook back towards Brooks, left-hand side, down towards the byline, sends over the cross. Barkley heads it away. The goal scorer, Semenyo, on the volley, right-footed, drops wide. So as promised, those latest scores in the Championship: Burnley 0, Queen's Park Rangers 0, Derby 1, Hull City 1, Plymouth 2, Preston North End 3, Sheffield United looking to get back to winning ways, lead Stoke City by 2 goals to 0. Sunderland looking to go 5 points clear, 2-0 up at home to Oxford United, Swansea City 0, Millwall 0, and West Bromwich Albion 0, Cardiff 0. It could be a 4th successive draw in the Championship for West Bromwich Albion. And in the Premier League, obviously 1-0 here at Villa Park. Brentford have come from 2-0 down to lead the 10 men of Ipswich now by 3 goals to 2. Brighton still lead Wolves 1-0. Manchester City 1, Southampton 0. Unable to add to that Erling Haaland goal after 5 minutes. However, there has been another goal elsewhere, and it's at Brighton, John Southall.
And it's gone to Brighton. This will be game over. Brighton 2, Wolves 0. Evan Ferguson on the turn into the bottom left-hand corner. First of the season for him. Surely the points for Brighton. Brighton 2, Wolves 0.
I mean that Wolves are still rooted to the bottom on 1 point. Bournemouth looking for an equaliser. Hit the ball long by Senesi towards Semenyo. Comes off his right boot. It'll go out of play for a goal kick. Cash just gave him a little nudge on his way as Semenyo helps the ball back to Emi Martinez. Complete relaxed atmosphere now, isn't it, inside Villa Park after that goal?
Yeah, I think there'll be a few nervy moments towards the end of the game. Bournemouth trying to go a little bit more direct now. Semenyo over the top a couple of times. Evan Nielsen, they're trying to hit him a little bit more direct, and it does miss out that Aston Villa press, so it will cause a few problems, but Aston Villa have been relatively comfortable.
Swansea City, without a win in 5, have conceded. Swansea City 0, Millwall 1 is the latest score in the Championship. We've got 2 minutes of normal time remaining here. Aston Villa lead by a goal to 0. There's been another goal at Brentford. Lee Blakeman.
The 10 men of Ipswich are level. It's Brentford 3, Ipswich 3. Ball in from the left, flicked in by substitute Liam Delap. And just listen to this for a scoreline. Brentford 3, 10-man Ipswich 3.
That might well start much the day tonight. First in the running order at 10:20 on BBC One. Bromley have got an equaliser at home to Barrow. Bromley 1, Barrow 1 is the latest score in League 2. Bournemouth far side the right, play the ball back to Zabani. Every Bournemouth player is in the Villa half. Chipped up to Ivan Nielsen with his back to goal, enters the penalty area, out towards Cook. Cook sends over the cross. Remember, they were 2-0 down after 87 minutes at Goodison, and they managed to get a 3-2 win. And here is Semenyo, and Semenyo crosses the ball low. It was cut out very well by a sliding concert, because that was a dangerous low ball. But Bournemouth aren't finished, they are pressing, Stephen.
Yeah, they certainly are, and even Nielsen's having a difference in that forward area. Now they've got a focal point. Play on, referee.
Tavernier, chop camera, looks for the... It's going to be another yellow card for Tavernier. The yellow cards are totting up. That's both substitutes that have been booked, Tavernier and Smith for Bournemouth now. That takes their tally to 6. The referee tried to let the game flow, but there was no advantage to be played, and so instead he brought it back. And we're going to have 6 minutes of additional time, which we will be in, or entering, in about 30 seconds' time, with Villa still leading by a goal to 0. There's some of the Villa supporters just starting to drift towards the exits as the ball is hit long by Evan Nielsen. He's fouled concert. There's been another goal. It's at Brighton. John Southall.
Maybe we're not over yet. Brighton 2, Wolves 1. 8-Nori on the left of the penalty area. He's just smashed it into the bottom right hand corner. VAR are taking a look at it, but as it stands at the moment, Wolves are back in it. Brighton 2, Wolves 1.
Every game then in the Premier League has that element of jeopardy. 3-3 at Brentford. Ipswich, they were down to 10 men. Brighton 2, Wolves 1, as we've just heard. And Manchester City still only leading Southampton by a goal to 0. 1-0 here at Villa Park. Grimsby Town 1, MK Dons 3 is a latest score. Dundee 1, St Johnstone 2 in the Scottish Premiership, and Plymouth have staged a fight back. Now 3-3 in injury time at home park against Preston. Semenyo coming forward, running on the left-hand side. They've doubled up on him, Bailey and Cash. Cash holds him up, and then with a good old shoulder barge takes a tumble, safely marshals the ball out of play and out for a goal kick. That goal does stand, incidentally, so it is now Brighton and Hove Albion 2, Wolves 1. Stephen Warner.
They're just trying to push Aston Villa towards the end of this game. I'm just wondering whether the changes that Unai Emery has made by taking off John McGinn and taking off Ollie Watkins and putting Ross Barkley in a little bit more of an advanced role has had a negative effect on the team. They just can't seem to hold the ball up front and get any sort of control of this game, Aston Villa.
Mentioned that epic comeback against Everton. Since then, Bournemouth facing a third straight away defeat without scoring since their heroics at Goodison. Although it was the acrobatics of Martinez that only prevented them from scoring earlier on in that first half. When you think of the 2 flying saves that he made from Cliver and Ouattara, certainly both goalkeepers have earned their corn here this afternoon. Just the 1 goal as Tielemans in the centre circle tries the reverse pass. Barkley advance, lays it off, looks for the return, but it goes through to the goalkeeper, Mark Travers, all in yellow. Let's get an update from Manchester City. John Bennett.
Man City still have a 1-goal lead, but Southampton are pushing for an equaliser here. Paul Onuachu's on, and he's had 2 headers which almost hit the back of the net. Man City 1, Southampton 0, 6 minutes added on.
Top of the Champions League, 3 points here for Aston Villa will take them to within a point of the summit of the Premier League. The leaders Liverpool, who of course are at Arsenal tomorrow. Commentary at 5 Live from 4:30. West Ham, Manchester United before that at 2 as part of 5 Live's Premier League Sunday. Here as we're heading towards Sports Report, Bournemouth have a free kick. Tavernier wraps it in low. Semenyo couldn't get there, even Nielsen did, but it was a heavy right touch of his right boot, and it goes out of play for a goal kick in stoppage time.
Yeah, I'll tell you who does really well here, Emi Martinez, because he just pulls his leg away from Nielsen, as he goes through, if he continues with his momentum, he'll take down the striker and potentially give away a penalty. But it was clever from Bournemouth, the free kick.
You had 6 goals, Lee Blakeman. Any sign of a 7th?
We've got 7 minutes added on. It's Brentford 3, Ipswich 3. Brentford with a chance. Ball in from the right. Wisser couldn't get over it with his head this time. Headed well over the crossbar, but there's more drama to come yet. Brentford 3, Ipswich 3.
We are halfway through the minimum of 6 here at Villa Park, where Aston Villa lead Bournemouth by 1-0. Senesi hits the high ball. Cash in a tangle with Semenyo. That's been an interesting tussle of late. And Matty Cash is going to be shown a yellow card. I wasn't very good at maths, but I'm running out now in terms of fingers and toes to count up the yellow cards. It is a lot.
You even tried to count.
I couldn't read my own writing. 4 minutes to be played. Bournemouth with a free kick. 10 yards in from the left touchline. I'll have a second go in a minute. You didn't speak for long enough. Here is Tavernier with a free kick, left-footed, very, very deep. Martinez spills it and then bounces and then dives forward in only true Emi Martinez style.
I'll have a guess at about 11.
Yeah, I think you might be right. There has been 11, and there's been another goal at Brighton, John Southall.
There's delirium in the away end. Brighton 2, Wolves 2. They've come from behind. Cunha on the right of the area has scored in front of those fans. Brighton 2, Wolves 2.
Well, they might yet to win this season, both Ipswich and Wolves, but they've certainly shown spirit, both to level and maybe pick up a point. Southampton are also yet to win, only trailing 1-0 at Manchester City. Crystal Palace of that quartet, who are still looking for their first win of the campaign tomorrow at home to Tottenham Hotspur, as Tavernier charges forward, caught by Barkley.
He's injured himself as well, Ross.
Barkley is going to get a yellow card, the 12th yellow card. What is it about Bournemouth and yellow cards? Was it 14 when in their recent game against Chelsea?
Chelsea it was, yeah.
That was a record. Swindon Town managerless have got an equaliser in League 2. Swindon Town 1, Gillingham 1. But Bournemouth have got a free kick. We're inside the last 30 seconds. Aston Villa only lead by 1-0. Travers, who's had an outstanding game, has come up from the back. It's going to be now or never for Bournemouth. Got a history this season of scoring late goals. They've scored more goals than anybody else in the last 20 minutes in the Premier League this season. Tavernier wraps it in, and they've got another one here. Evan Nielsen pops up with an injury time equaliser. They've never given up hope, and Bournemouth, right at the death, have salvaged a point. Aston Villa 1, Bournemouth 1. Evan Nielsen with a headed goal.
Well, credit to Tavernier, because the ball in is exceptional. He tried a little slide ball about 3-4 minutes ago with a free kick, and it nearly paid off. This time it's absolutely on the money. Evan Nielsen with a deep run, times his run perfectly, a glancing header towards the near post, and then it ends up in the far back post. It's a quite brilliant header from Evan Nielsen. But what you have to say is, where's the marking? Who's picking him up? John Duran's asking questions about Matty Cash. Pau Torres is asking questions about the positional sense of John Duran. They're not happy. It's poor marking from Aston Villa, but really, really good from Bournemouth.
Well, despite the celebrations, one of the Bournemouth coaching staff has also been shown a yellow card. Bolton 1, Peterborough 0 is the latest score in League 1. Late drama here, and in fact it was almost the last bit of action, because the Bournemouth fans on that far side are celebrating, because the full-time whistle has sounded, and Bournemouth there with that equaliser. Reflections from Stephen Warnock to come in Sports Report, but right at the end, Bournemouth with another late show. It's finished Aston Villa 1, Bournemouth 1.